Ahoy, mateys! 'Tis I, Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, and I be here to tell you about me newest crowdfunding campaign. The adventures continue with me crew, the Mighty Mascots, in issues 7, 8, and 9. Just focus your looking glass on the amazing artwork of Ian Warianto and Anton Bondi. Me crew, the Mighty Mascots, are up against some scurvy scallywags, and we need ye help to defeat them. There be a bounty of exclusive treasure, only available here, where X marks the spot. I spy a huge coffer of bonuses and stretch goals on the horizon. Then please consider pledging so we can continue these adventures with the weirdest crew I ever had the pleasure of sailing with. Mascots Unleash!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots. With me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana and Surrounded by Death. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing on this Thanksgiving Eve,
Oh, well, I got plenty of things ahead of me. After the end of the show, I got to stick my hand up a bird, and you can count that as a euphemism.
Are you cooking tonight? Are you really cooking?
Well, that's the trick to Thanksgiving, right? When you're hosting, you want to do as much as much stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
So that way in the morning when you can wake up, you just put everything in the oven and you just start drinking.
So are you hosting?
I actually started drinking right now. So cheers,
nice. So are the Cavutos hosting this year?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How many people are you expecting?
Lots of cousins, probably around 6 or 7.
Okay. That's
not too bad.
Yeah, we're doing it weird. Like Amy's cooking a bunch of stuff, but we're gonna bring. So my mother's gonna cook a bunch of stuff at her house, and Amy's gonna cook a bunch of stuff here, and then we're gonna transport it all over there for noon and then get going, We
used to do that. We used to do the whole food transport to another location thing. And, on top of the cooking and then the transporting, it's just too much.
Well, it's weird this year. Like my family has always been like, we don't want to cook. We want to, you want to get takeout or go to a restaurant. They're that type. They don't want to do the cleanup or the cooking. So this year we couldn't get it.
Nobody wants to clean up.
No one.
Right? Everybody wants to be the guest. Nobody wants to be the host.
Exactly.
And my brother's like, about being the host though is once you're done and the night's over, you don't have to drive home. You just, you're home already.
Yeah, that's the nice thing.
So it's nice.
But my brother's like to the point where he doesn't give a crap. He's like, let's just get pizza. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So me and Amy went and literally bought everything. And it was just like, it was still so much cheaper and then easier.
You should buy him a DiGiorno frozen pizza.
I bring that over while we eat the turkey,
I mean, who doesn't want a nice turkey leftover sandwich the next day?
Yeah, well, Amy's already eyeing the carcass for like soup stock and everything. So,
right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the leftovers, But yeah, we got a great show tonight, dude. We got
some
the nerds
friends
of the round, I was on their show, I think about a week or two ago, talking about Black Adam, and I haven't seen Black Panther yet.
It's actually on digital yesterday.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah, you can see it this weekend if you want.
Oh,
or
really?
If you have the Plex.
Okay. Wow, it's already on digital. Are they putting it to the Disney Plus platform already, or no?
No, it would be going to whatever, like Google Play or the iPhone store.
Okay.
So it's not streaming. Like you can buy it digitally for like $20 or however much it is, but it's not free streaming yet.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
But it'll
Unless
probably
you have
be
the
by
plaque.
Christmas. I bet they'll. Oh yeah. Probably by Christmas though. Imagine Disney Plus might try to get it up there. Maybe not. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but yeah. But
Probably.
I had never done their. I know you've done their show a couple times, right?
A couple of times, yeah. And they've
Yeah.
actually done our show, I think, 2 or 3
Well,
times before too. Right?
Well,
Or is it
no,
one?
I think we haven't had the whole crew on. I know we've had Sebastian on, and I think La and maybe Tone, but I don't think we've had the whole crew on though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know.
I just
We
know
could
they are
ask them when they
returning
come
guests
back.
and they're good friends, so I'm really excited to have them back.
Yeah, no, and I think tonight too, like I was texting you earlier today, like how, like I know we normally just do like a standard interview with people, but I thought it'd be fun to actually do a show similar to their style where they talk about like, geek happenings and,
Yeah. Well,
movies, comics, that kind of thing. And
I'm all for that, but I also a few of those guys are actually they've got creative endeavors too. So
yeah, no, I wanted,
touch
and I
upon some of
also
that.
and I also want to know how they all came together as a group. I think that's
a
very
good
interesting
origin
as well.
question right there, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, but before we bring them in, I always gotta share. Just take a quick look at the campaign. It's still going, man. I'm at 75. I put a tweet out this week. Let's try to get up to 8. And if we can get up to 10, we get the temporary tattoo. So,
Which is awesome. I really want a temporary tattoo, so I hope we get there.
well, I might jumpstart the campaign once I have the little Keshi figures done. And
yeah, the little muscle men. Well, I got the Mighty Musings today, or it
oh,
came
you
out
did, nice.
Today. So I saw all the prototypes, and it looks really cool. So if you haven't already, sign up for Keith's newsletter. You can stay up to date on all the Mighty Mascot and Indie Comics Relay and Plastic City News.
Yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
I read it, man. I like it a lot.
Oh, thanks. I committed to it once a month because it's too much to do weekly. It's just like our YouTube stuff. It's too much to do more than 3 videos a week, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, check it out. And like I won't push it too hard, but I just wanted the update on it is issue 7 is pretty much done. Issue 8 is just about done. Ian and Anton Ian is finishing up all the art, and Anton's colored like 8 pages. So, and then 9, we're going to immediately launch into that as soon as he has done issue 8, because I already handed him the script and the thumbnails. So I'm hoping by January, all the art will be done. And then we can
nice.
start
So when do you
to
think you're
press.
going to be shipping?
I put the due date for next July, which I think is doable as long as, I can hit that printing schedule, in a timely manner and get the books, and then I can start fulfilling probably in late summer. I'm hoping. We'll see.
Just don't end up like me where you're delayed 1.5 years.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I know, I hear that. Oh, speaking of which, I just saw today, and this anybody out there in the indie comics world, what's the printer that we use? The Comics
Wellspring?
Comics Wellspring. I got an email from them today. They're doing like a 25% off Black Friday kind of thing. So if you need any printing done, this is the time in the next couple of days to
tell them Johnny C sent you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I know Anthony very well. He comes by.
Go to their website because
he's a good dude.
I have a couple trades I need to print. I need to print out some more Swamp Tales, so I'll be definitely taking advantage of that this weekend. So
yeah, now is the time to get it done for the following year. You're like, okay, I got shows.
Yeah, or if you even think you need it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So tonight we got Ara with us. How's it going, buddy? We got Roland with us. Good to see you, man. The guitar riff sounds familiar. He must be talking about your guitar riff in the Surrounded by Death trailer.
In the Surrounded by Death trailer. Yeah, those are my friends, good friends of mine. They're the band's called Vulgarity. They're out of Connecticut. They've won Rhode Island Rock Rock Fest, like that competition like several times over. Real awesome guys. I'm actually going to be hanging out with them on Friday night. Can't wait to see those guys. Big shout out to Vulgarity. Thank you for letting me use your music.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, that was great. Amy's Birdhouse with us tonight, actually cooking upstairs. Speaking of getting stuff done. Harry's with us. I've already shoved my hand up a bird.
I hope it was consensual, Harry.
Yeah, right. Right. And Roland said the Keshi prototypes look great. Thank you, man.
They're muscle men to me.
Yeah, right. No, I love that. They came out better than I ever imagined they would. So I can't wait to actually have them in my hands. And I'm trying to design the packaging this weekend as well. So it's gonna be kind of cool.
Are they gonna be blister packs?
Yeah, I'm gonna use those ones Roger turned me on to with the Hot Wheel car. It's like I'm thinking of that, slipping the cardboard backer in like he does, and then you have the toy right there,
Yeah, it's good to go.
Professional, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. So, but all right, let's we have a big show tonight, so without further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest, the Nerds of the Round.
Rolling.
So I'm just gonna go in the order of the windows here. First, we
got
Sebastian.
Hey.
What's up,
I'm
man?
with the Eddie Guerrero shuffle right now. There we go.
I love it.
Well, that's what I've been singing those comics. Harry, I hope you bought that bird dinner first before you did that.
He said, "I may have used too much chloroform. The bird ain't talking."
Oh
man, that's messed up. We also got Tone with us.
What's going on? What's up?
What up, man?
How's it going?
It's going good. Getting ready for Turkey Day, or in my household, Ham Day for us tomorrow.
Oh, you always got to have the ham alternative.
Yes.
Hey, we got I'm sorry,
Mac.
FEMAC.
My mic's down. Sorry. Hi guys.
Hi.
FEMAC or Val.
Thank you
Either
for
way.
joining us.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. And Law, what's up, buddy?
Hello, what's going on?
We're trying to remember. Like some of you guys were on the show before. I know Sebastian definitely.
The three of us were.
I was not on here.
Yeah,
this first time for VMAC.
Yeah. This is my first time.
Awesome.
I wasn't a permanent. I probably wasn't a permanent fixture in the show yet at the time.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to talk about too. Like, how did you how long have you guys been doing first of all, Nerds of the Round? How long have you guys been doing it?
Pre-pandemic, right?
Okay.
I want to say like 20 about the 2017 and it's beginning of 2018.
Okay, and it started as a podcast before it went to video. Is that?
It started video, and then went to podcast, and
audio,
then went back to video.
Yeah, and then the pandemic came. We were like, all right, we need to figure something out to talk with everybody and see everybody. And so we did Skype and then Zoom, and now we just do everyone now is doing is StreamYard. So,
StreamYard, yeah.
These guys kept it going during the pandemic. It's kind of like how we did, Keith. Because that was one of the things is that when that happened, all these creators like us were kind of lost. We would have things like Creator Aftercon Network after New York Comic Con to convene and to hang out and to shoot the shit, and we didn't have that. So these guys stepped up and gave a platform to people to go on the show and present themselves, which is
that's great.
Yeah, man.
I love that
service in the community.
So go ahead, Sebastian.
Go ahead, Keith.
No, I was gonna say
I'm good.
No, I was gonna say so do you guys have you guys all known each other before the podcast or?
So I knew Seabass through Imbion.
Okay.
Seabass is the connector.
Yeah, he's the connector for all of us.
Okay.
I inadvertently knew Tone, but we didn't know each other.
We were in the same. We were in the same building for 2 years.
Yeah, essentially.
We went to high school. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
So he was a junior when I was a freshman.
One of my good friends from high school was in his class. Met through detention. He was like, "Yeah, I know Rob." I was like, "Oh shit!" So, yeah, we figured that out after a while. But yeah, Seabass is essentially the wizard.
Blue.
Yeah.
So you guys met in detention. You were like the original Breakfast Club.
No,
that was someone else. That's a mutual friend of me and Tone.
mutual-
Oh, gotcha.
together.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I
So like
thought-
in
That'd be
high
a
school,
cool
like
story,
we
though.
were
Yeah,
like
that would've
in
been
the building, but like we never crossed paths, we never spoke to each other.
Oh, really?
And then
Okay.
like 15 years later, I guess, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Because like Seabass was my neighbor from across the hall. Like that's how we knew
Okay.
each other. Him and Val worked together, and he knew Law, and then I met Law through Seabass, and then we realized we went to the same high school, and then we realized that we were in the same building at some point. So it was kind of just like this whole
Yeah.
6 degrees of Seabass.
It's funny how it all connects together. I think we were all supposed to meet because technically VMAC and Law kind of also in the same neighborhood and didn't know
Yeah.
that they were living in the same
Years,
neighborhood.
Oh,
too, for
really?
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And technically,
We actually just bumped into each other,
for the first time, like
and
2 weeks ago.
it's like, Val, I'm like, oh, you're tall. And we've been doing this for a while, so it's like, it was pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
And
it's-
did some of you guys start the podcast and then bring other people in? Is that how it
Seabass.
works?
Seabass.
Seabass
Oh,
started it, and then just
I
kept
guessed
like
a few times
right.
back in the day when he was like getting it all started off.
Okay.
And then I would guess more often, more recently. And then the guys was like, hey, would you like to come on like full time? And I was like, sure, it'd be fun, sure. So that's kind of how I joined the crew.
So happy when you did.
It was
Yes.
funny
It-
because
it
Like,
was-
we need another perspective.
Yo,
I
honestly,
like
it was
that,
a
though.
conversation piece for like at least a full year where we were like,
I wonder what the
Yo.
story behind the scenes before I came on was like. Hey, what about Val? I've always wondered about that, so I don't know
Well,
how
we-
that went.
I think so. Again, we did a Friendsgiving episode, which I put like everybody's first appearance. Law, we don't have his first appearance because we call it the dark episode. It's kind of deleted. It's like
that'll
it's
never
like
see the light
really
of
bad.
day.
Like, yeah, it would never see the light of day. But I put the episode up that he did it with his sister, which was dope. But yeah, no, we were looking. We kind of felt like at the time that there was just this whole echo chamber of guys just saying stuff, and we really wanted to get a woman's perspective on stuff because we felt that will help ground the show and really open up perspective because we saw that there just wasn't that much representation out there with women getting to speak about these matters because it's like it was all one side about a lot of the guys that we had. Nothing against the guys that came on. We just thought we all came together. And so at the end of the day, it's like Val came up to the top of the list because Val, I've known Val. She's a geek. She's an artist. She's a sports fan. She's everything. And if you haven't seen her VK Arts page,
VK Arts.
VK Arts. Yes, I know I mispronounce everything. That's what I'm known for. But
It's
definitely
right there under her name. It's
Yeah,
I
right
know.
there in
I
the bag.
mispronounce everything.
It's easy to remember Marvel, the Kree from Marvel. Okay, and then it's
Yeah,
like a play of Kree Art. Okay,
I like it. I like
that.
it.
No, you
No,
check out
that's
that
smart of
page.
you
She does
guys
some
to-
dope art. Go,
Yeah.
check it.
I'm not as active as I should be. That's all.
Social
you're
media
getting
is
back
like a
into the swing
job
of things,
unto
though.
itself. It's just so much work,
So much work.
Well, it's as a creator, it's like half your day. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's annoying.
That's why when you have a company job, you do it on the company dime.
Yeah.
I wish I had the time to do that, but it doesn't really work in with what I do. So
Well, I hate when you go on there and you're like, I gotta promote, and then you fall down a rabbit hole of just checking everything, and it's just like, then an hour goes by and it's like, oh no.
Look. You haven't fallen down that rabbit hole until you've watched like an hour-long video of people just making Korean street food. You know what I mean? Like there's just there's something zen-like about watching people make scallion pancakes for like 45 minutes straight.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
you're not
He's not
wrong.
wrong.
About
Yeah,
Johnny.
like,
You're
I
not,
said
you're
this
not wrong.
before,
I
Johnny.
feel like we've all been there.
I discovered Reddit at work. The first time I discovered
Oh.
Reddit was at work. I didn't
Reddit's
get any
dangerous.
work done that day. I was on Reddit for 8 hours. I discovered
That's amazing.
the Game of Thrones Reddit and the Destiny Reddit. I was like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
exists.
I feel like Reddit is a place where there's less like it's like social media. It was like Facebook before everything turned to shit.
Yeah.
There's like good conversation on Reddit. Like you go to Facebook, it's like by the 5th comment, somebody's making some dumb political statement. On Reddit,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just more like
And it's
actual
crazy
fandom.
how
Right.
like with Reddit too, it's like everyone's anonymous unless you really do some snooping. But like I've gotten better recommendations on how to do recipes, how to do certain tasks, just on Reddit alone versus
it's
going
Pinterest
on
for
Facebook.
guys.
Apparently.
You know,
No,
you go on Reddit.
I like
in
Reddit
my
a lot
house?
for certain video games.
I'm
like
using
I was
Pinterest a lot now. But only for
Pinterest is pretty good for when I need nail designs, but I like Reddit for like when I'm playing a video game. I was doing Lego Star Wars not too long ago and couldn't find certain cubes. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? So Reddit helped.
So is it more? It's like
much
a
video
modern
game?
day like game guide kind of. Is that like how?
it can be.
For everything.
Something like
For
that.
everything.
It has
Everything.
literally has
Right.
everything.
It's the genie in the bottle, Keith. You just got to rub it and something will pop out.
Yeah.
There's a
Search anything,
subreddit
you
for
will find it.
everybody.
Yeah.
For
Really?
everything.
Awesome.
Hey, you're into weird like Dalmatian outfits? Reddit's got it. Like, you know, like you into snapping carrots? Reddit's got it.
Korean. What did you say,
There
John?
may be
Korean street
50
cooking?
people, but there's 50 people that
Yeah,
is that same
true.
thing.
Yeah. Korean
Oh,
street
man.
cooking, it's there.
Yeah, that's why I love doing this show. I always find out like these weird stuff Johnny's into, like his
Yeah.
watching and
Yeah.
like,
You haven't lived until you've YouTubed circus accidents.
Oh God.
That's scary. I would be afraid of that one.
Yeah, me too. I don't know if I want to know that.
No, yeah, no, that's one I wouldn't be able
Carny
to see.
folk are scary enough, and then
Yeah, yeah.
so one know
See,
the accidents.
So
are
when
gonna
you see
be
one
on
of them
top
get
that.
mauled by a tiger, it's kind of cathartic and gratifying.
Gratifying? Not so much.
Send in the clowns.
It depends
Send
on
in
how
the clowns.
it depends if it's the shitty circus, then it's kind of gratifying.
Yeah, right.
It's like in SeaWorld when the killer whale killed some people. And listen,
Yeah, finally.
he's
has
been
it.
They had it
he's been
They should've kept
repressing
it in their
that for
pants.
so long.
right.
It's like any day now.
Yeah.
So
You know, he's-
are all of you guys artists, creators of some sort? Like I know Sebastian is, and I
We finally got tone. But it's all with the D&D. It's all like
oh okay.
Tone is a
Tone has
creator
some of
with
the-
D&D and Liquor.
some of the greatest speeches we've had in that campaign. Holy shit.
giving me way too much credit.
So
man.
wait, just playing
Bullshit!
D&D
I give you
or
too much
creating
credit.
or crafting like campaigns? Is
No,
that-
I'm not a DM. I honestly just don't have the time and energy to DM. Honestly, if I ever do DM, it would be if my kids wanted to do it and like
Gotcha.
there was something for like their friends. That would be the
So-
only time I would DM. I'm not doing
He's
it
like
for these
Bill
fucks.
Pullman in Independence Day. He's there to give the rousing speech, right?
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
yes. Actually, yes.
Tone
So-
has
so
had
when
the
you do
best
D&D
speeches.
tone?
Look,
What do you-
I'd follow Tone into battle any day.
Yo, for real. Like, yo, there has been many a boss fight where Tona said some wild epic shit, and we've just been so hype. It's like,
That's some
it's like
epic shit
yeah.
that
you can't
inspiration
say anything
is
after
gained.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
so you're actually a good D&D player. Is that what it is? Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
so I guess there's a give and take here. So for our DM, so like Tommy, who's our DM, in our current game, for Yun, who's our DM, yeah, I do my best to be a great player.
Okay.
However, if folks want to test their monsters against me, I will make your life hell because I will find the most game breaking thing I can find because that excites me. I'm all
Nice.
about as
Min-maxing.
much numbers and min maxing. I like to build my characters like a fucking
He
level
has charts.
99 video
Like,
game.
it
He
doesn't,
has
it
charts.
doesn't make
He
sense.
has
how
charts.
some of it. Yeah.
He has charts on how to do this damage.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I'm lost at D&D. I'm like,
You're gonna
Yeah,
get it.
you
You don't
refuse-
want to.
You
never-
refuse to dive.
I
in.
refuse to get into because okay. First of all, I'm a jack of a lot of trades. Okay, and to get into another thing that adds to my plate, I just refuse to try.
Well, that
yeah.
and it's like every campaign I've ever attempted, it's gone for days and days and days, and I'm
So
done.
much.
Oh,
after
they're on
3
how
hours.
many years? How many
Yeah,
Years.
and I'm done
We're
after
going-
3
No,
hours.
their
years right now.
campaign is
Three.
years right now.
We're going on year 3 in January.
Year
Oh my
3.
Year
God,
3, ridiculous.
crazy.
We're
You
only
should
on level
commitment.
12. and
Yeah,
we've been
we're
3
only
years.
like 2/3 of the way through the campaign.
Oh my god.
Damn. Yo, I
There's
don't know
no
if
way.
my heart could handle that much more emotional investment into something. It's like
Right.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
lot.
I get
It's a lot of
rejected all
emotional
the time
investment,
from
a lot of
comics.
emotional trauma.
It's tough. With everything else that I'm into, I can't commit to that. I refuse.
It's tough because that is a lot of time.
So you, VMAC, you mentioned playing video games, or it's like I miss playing video games because they don't have the time for it. I couldn't imagine taking on a D&D campaign where I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta section off another night of my week.
Exactly.
Johnny,
I rarely have time to be able to do what I want to do, and then to add new thing that I'm probably going to get obsessed with.
Yeah.
It's just not an. I can't
If
consciously
you can write
jump
me
into
in
it.
for like a one-shot deal,
game.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
because
a
I
one-shot.
know how
Just
I
do a
am.
one-shot.
yeah.
All
No, you guys
need
are gonna
is-
no. Okay,
We've been
because
trying.
then I'm going to go and then be
we've
like,
been-
oh my god, I have to get invested, and then I'm gonna want to get dice, and I'm gonna want to fix my character, and I'm gonna want to make everything perfect because my
And
character
then
has to be the best.
She's gonna
I'm
start
not gonna do
drawing.
that.
She's gonna get back into art and start drawing her
Exactly.
character.
Yes, my character has
Listen.
to have a whole backstory. It's gonna be extra, and I don't want that.
And then
I'm gonna
start
be
to write
upfront.
comic
That's the
stories
goal,
of the
fam. That's
character.
what we're trying to do. There's no underhanded shit.
We've been trying to get Val to play D&D since we've been doing this. She's been holding strong. I'll give you credit. You have been holding strong.
Yeah.
With I also think we haven't been like, yo, we've got an open slot for a game because that also hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, any
So
reason
the
to
day
have
you
diamond
the day
encrusted
you
dice,
DM,
right?
I'll join.
yeah. Well, I got
Well, you know
metal
what's
dice
funny?
now.
Like D&D kind of died for a long time, but recently, in the last few years, it seems to be more popular than ever.
Pandemic.
Especially with the
Is it the
pandemic.
pandemic?
Yeah.
surge.
And Stranger Things.
Stranger
Oh,
Things.
Stranger Things,
Critical
yeah,
Role.
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that.
Joe
yeah.
Manganiello.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. If you can get him to come play, I'm in.
I already told you I know a guy.
Yeah.
You
I
know, you make that happen, I'm
Yeah.
totally in.
There is 90% more prettier girls playing D&D now than there was in the 80s. I just like to
No,
say
I'm
that.
sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't remember any, Johnny. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a wasteland before.
It was a wasteland.
I mean, fantasy in and of itself was a wasteland.
yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no, that's
Well,
not true.
Comics,
Back then, when
too,
I was
like,
when I was growing up, even like getting into anime, I was like the one guy.
Yeah.
No,
well, yeah,
it was
not
like-
for
I
me.
was
I
the
guess-
pariah.
like I had to hide that I was into comics because it
Oh, I
was
was very
cool
much
growing
into
up.
comic books. It's all I used to draw when I was so young. I guess I'm the weirdo in the group, but when it came to that, and people thought it was cool at the time, and I'm like, this,
You lucked
Me.
out then.
You lucked out.
you know,
was a
I think it was because
pariah.
I was like the only girl, so
Well, that's the
everybody
thing,
loved
like-
the fact that I was into that.
Well, that and it's like every guy, whenever they saw a girl like reading a comic, they're like, "Oh my god!" You know, like they were all like,
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Everyone's
no.
like, "I can get her."
Can I share a story real quick? So
Yeah.
this past weekend, I was filming another podcast, and there was a guy who was literally talking about how he doesn't date, and then him and his friend, he's like, "Oh, he's like my Robin." I was like, "Which Robin? Jason Todd, Damon Wayne? I don't. What are you talking about?" He's like, "The fact that you know that, I would totally date you." I was like, "What?" It was like such a bad
So thirsty,
intro. It
man.
was weird. It was weird.
No, but
Thirsty.
that's how. Yeah, when the guy like back then, there was hardly any girls in the comics, and
Oh, I've
whenever you
been a
see one, like I
Marblehead.
used to work at a
of young.
comic store, and maybe once every like 6 months, a girl would come in, and it'd be like
The
whole
record
store-
scratches.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
store would
But
stop.
you know,
and it
but
was
you know
just
what's
like,
crazy
whoa.
is like
It's
back
isolating
then.
though.
No, but
It
back
is,
back
I
then,
know.
like
For-
we
for
never saw
someone
it,
like
and
me.
then now,
now it's
you
a
got
different
people-
story.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a different story,
It's-
or you got gatekeeping where it's like, well, you got to prove your fandom, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
like, fuck
yeah,
off.
that's
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
V,
that
you must
shit.
find it kind of frustrating, though. It'll be hard to have a genuine conversation with somebody about something because they're just
the
probably
time.
like just trying to agree with you to chat with you, right?
It's frustrating with the world of geekdom. It's frustrating with the guys who want to be geek, and then it's frustrating with the females who have no interest in the stuff that I'm in. It's an isolating environment for me.
Mm. It's weird though, because
Well-
like I would say, like even I've been going to conventions, setting up, and just going since like the '90s, and I'd say now, I see half the audience is women now. Like before, it wasn't that; it was all guys. And every
Introduce me to some females because I don't know them.
Well, I would.
I
The
can?
first person
I would like
say
some
is
friends
Keith's wife,
because
Amy.
my friends
Amy
don't
is
like what I like.
Awesome.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, my
Link
wife.
up with Amy. You really like it. But just to put a little pin in it, V, I'd say that you linked up with 3 really awesome
Here
guys.
she is, thirsty.
Yeah,
nerds.
no, I know. I love my guys. They're the best. Seriously.
Yeah,
I'm
seriously.
looking forward to hanging out with them. I mean, they really are. I love them all. So
Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
V has a special place in my heart because again we were co-workers, we've been friends for a long time, and again everybody on the like I said on the panel last night, on the show, I give them big thanks because the show wouldn't be anywhere without these 3, and I have a special place in my heart for all of them, and it's like family. It's family.
I can
Wait.
Oh,
Family.
You ruined it.
I love it.
Always
okay, Vin.
I had my emotional catharsis with Black Panther for about 5 years, so that's about it. Okay.
Well,
going back to
I
being
can
a
tell
solid
you
rock at
guys
this
were a
point.
tight knit group when I was on, last week or the week before. I can't even remember now. But like, yeah, I could tell it was just like a tight unit,
Bro.
So,
I haven't even met VMAC in person yet.
No,
oh,
and I
I'm meeting her in
literally only
person.
met Law once. It's like
I'm
on the
meeting her
train.
for the first time when she somehow comes to South Jersey for the Super Bowl.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
definitely
nice.
coming
We're all
out there.
making the trek.
We're making plans to go meet for the Super Bowl, so that'll be fun. And
Yes,
I'm
yes.
waiting.
Nice.
Have George drive you guys.
are you guys
Oh yeah,
gonna
yeah.
do a like?
I'm gonna
I'll
force
do it.
him.
You guys gonna do a live episode when you're all together in one room? That'd be kind of.
I
We
mean,
can do a behind the
we've been
scenes
wanting to.
and add some like shorts, guys. That actually is a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So-
shorts seems to be
So
a
the
thing
one,
now.
We
the
have
one
done
thing
like
that me and Seabass want to do tomorrow. I didn't tell you this yet, Seabass, because Jackie told me to do it with you. Is that we do a reel or whatever with this voiceover of the Negroni Spluggiato with Prosecco in it, because I'm making it tomorrow.
That's so good.
And so we'll do the voiceover of us doing it, and then we'll post that. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Is that an
Couple
exclusive?
reels.
Did we hear it here first?
Yeah, you did.
Yes,
You
you
did.
heard it here first.
I mean, Seabass heard it here first, so you know.
exclusive.
You know, he
You guys
volunteers
said
everyone
it
to
live,
come to
it's
my
locked
house
in.
for everything, so I can volunteer him to do something for me tomorrow.
Oh
That's
man.
great.
No, I mean, what's cool is that we're all gonna meet, get together, for Super Bowl, which I think is gonna be dope. Because last time I think we got together and got to do something, VMAC wasn't a
July?
part or so just yet. It was like
Oh,
law.
so it's been less
it
than
was-
a year.
yeah.
Well,
it's
it
been
wasn't
like
even July this
long.
year. It was July last year, I think.
So this will be with all 4 of us now, and I think that it'll be pretty dope just to do some fun stuff.
Are you guys
Yeah.
going to Super Bowl or just going to be watching together?
No,
Wow,
we're not going
watching
to-
together.
We're going
Okay,
over
gotcha,
to
gotcha,
Tone.
gotcha.
Yeah,
we're-
we're going
we're-
to Super Bowl. Who spends that type of money?
I mean,
Who's got
listen,
that kind of cash?
Listen. I would have wanted to go, but my quarterback is now having marital problems, and he's on a different team. So you know,
True that. True
Yeah.
that.
so you know, it's all
Okay,
good, man.
okay,
I'm still
Tom
watching.
Brady.
Listen, I'm watching. My team is playing
Listen,
tomorrow
Tom-
at 8 p.m. against the Vikings.
Yep.
Who Patriots?
Yeah, they have a.
No,
this
That's
is
Yeah.
the
your
first time
team, really, bro?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
knew this. You knew this.
I did.
You
I
knew
did.
this.
Okay, I
You knew
think
this. You knew this.
I'm
You
gonna
knew
pretend
this.
I did.
Oh,
It's the first
I'm
time
gonna
in
act like
years.
you know what it is.
we
It
got
probably
the
first
didn't
time-
Giants
rain
and
because
Cowboys game tomorrow.
No,
Me and
I
my
enjoy
sister
the-
will not
I
be
enjoy the
talking for that
Patriots.
game.
I enjoy the Patriots.
It's crazy too because you got football going on, you got World Cup going on, so there's like a lot.
Oh,
There's
my
a lot
my whole
happening.
job is like the other 2 branches of my job are based in Berlin and the UK.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's all they're like. They literally were like, "Yeah, we just went down to the pub to watch the game."
We're getting
And I
any
was
work
like-
done. We're watching the World Cup.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a US UK game coming up soon." So I'm sure our Slack channel will be full with us talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no investment, but now that they're
Yeah,
like they're
the
encouraging
US
me to talk
doesn't
shit, I will
until
talk shit.
We're in a position that to win something. Like US is so blah when it comes to.
No, they usually get past the first round, and then they get knocked out when everyone starts to believe.
Right.
Right.
That's what happens.
Listen,
Yeah, yeah,
our
I
soccer
follow-
team
I
is the women's
follow-
soccer team.
That,
Like,
yeah, that's
Yes.
true. The women's
That's
soccer
true.
team is
Yes.
America's team is the women's soccer
right,
team.
absolutely.
And the men's national team gets their asses kicked, and then we all start going to other countries. Like I like Belgium from 4 years ago. Belgium was the team I was following, so we'll see how it goes.
This is
This
all
year.
like clicks and buzzes to me.
This is what happens. They go off the rails sometimes.
At the end of the day, the
You
last
like
thing I'm
any
gonna say about
sports,
the World Cup, as long as
the only one
Qatar
I-
loses, that's all that matters.
The only one I kind of watch with some regularity is like UFC. I like mixed martial arts,
Okay.
and
I have to get
I
back
don't
into
watch
it.
it that religiously. But if like a friend gets the pay-per-view, I'll go over and check it out. You know.
So you've now got CM Punk who just left AEW commentating on UFC. I believe.
Is
That
he?
bum.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
It's brutal
did
though,
he just
man.
get to
Is he
AEW? I didn't
transitioning?
even watch wrestling. He just got to AEW like a couple months ago.
No, that was like a year ago, and he got into a massive backstage brawl with the EVPs of the company, so they booted him.
Oh,
Holy
really?
shit.
Oh, it was crazy. Like
That's crazy.
if you go and you search the last, it was called the All Out Media Scrum.
Mm.
He just went off on like everybody. He's like, I work with a bunch of children, blah blah blah. He verbally was just like bashed everybody in the company next to the owner of the company, who's just sitting there like pretending to leave his body.
That's
Wow.
that's
Oh,
like
but
if
it's
that's like
fun
if
to
you
watch.
call out of work and then you post on social media that you're at like an amusement park or something.
Yeah.
You know, like you might as well just like shoot yourself in the
Yeah.
foot.
Right.
Lucky
Why
move.
would you
That's
do
all.
that?
It sucks because CM Punk has delivered some great matches, but it's just that from
He's a
what people
bum.
say, his personality really hurts him.
Didn't he write some comics or something for
He
Marvel
did.
at some
He
point?
did.
Yeah,
No, it was
didn't he?
he
DC.
did.
I think it was DC. He did.
DC.
No, he
did
did
anyone
Marvel. He
read
did,
those? Are they
Marvel
any
too?
good?
Oh,
He did a Drax miniseries, and
That's
I
what
believe
it
he did
was,
a
yeah.
Thing miniseries.
Was it any good?
Couldn't tell you.
Did you?
Would not know.
It was all right.
You read it? Okay.
I mean, like it was okay. Like,
Did he have
I mean-
like a grasp on the character? Did he like?
yeah, I mean, I feel like he may have gone off of some like really solid notes that Marvel handed off to him.
Gotcha.
Put it this way, Keith. I don't want to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I feel like I could have wrote it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, also, he said who did he do? Drax?
He did a Drax miniseries, and he did like I believe like a Thing or a Fantastic Four like miniseries or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and the fact
still
that
a
no
bum.
one's read it,
Yeah,
you know?
he's still a bum.
Still a bum.
Or
Right.
the fact that no one's read it or anyone talks about it's probably a bad sign.
It's
you
a
know?
it's a blip. Like no
I
one
mean,
talks about
I
Freddie
don't know
Prinze.
if I would read a Drax miniseries in and of itself. I mean,
right.
Big-
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, it's like CM Punk's writing in comics is similar to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s time of writing for WWE wrestling.
Yeah, so I
You know,
wasn't
did
even,
that
I wasn't
happen?
even on
That-
board then, so I don't
interesting.
have a frame of reference.
wow.
But I can only imagine.
And again, it's nothing against Freddie Prinze Jr. It's just like it's a blip. He worked
Right.
with WWE as a writer, but it's like, yeah, it was just what did
Harry
you
said,
yeah.
Harry said I haven't
What?
watched wrestling since
You know this
Mae
nugget,
Young.
Steve S, since you're the resident
Yeah.
WWE historian of our group.
Right.
Anytime
I don't
somebody-
remember that storyline, Harry.
I don't remember
That was with
either.
Mark Henry.
There it is.
He gave it was her, Mark Henry. Mae Young gave birth to just like Mark Henry was like that's when he was known as sexual chocolate.
Oh my god.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
God, I haven't watched wrestling since like the Undertaker came into wrestling. Like,
Yeah.
that's how long back. How far back
I
go.
recommend like if you've read Undertaker is to watch his Last Ride documentary. It's a pretty good documentary because it's more insight into the Undertaker. It's a man who's protected his character for so many years. Like for example, kayfabe is something that people don't break. Like kayfabe, he never broke character. And this documentary, you actually see the man, the Undertaker, Mark Calloway, the guy who has been the Undertaker for years, and the amount of surgeries that he went through. This, like, even through the documentary, they show you one of the surgeries he was going through. He's getting a hip replacement with a whole metal ball bearing and everything
Oh my God.
because it's hips. It's like he has given his body for the sport of WWE.
And
I didn't
feel
watch the
like-
whole thing. I
matches,
watched some of
like-
it, but it was really good.
But
Yeah,
even
I
those
feel
last
like-
matches of his, he was like Peyton Manning and Super Bowl 50. He was just being propped up.
Yeah.
Like
I
he's
feel
just a
like there's very
body.
That's
few
sport,
pro-
like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like there's very few professional wrestlers nowadays that actually maintain that mystique. Like I think the
famous.
current world champion at AEW, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he's known for being a prick. Like he was a real dickwad when I met him. Like, and he goes to bed that way. You know what I mean? Wakes up.
Kevin Owens does that too.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
thing.
So for those who don't know,
break.
K-Fab is pretty much what it means is that they don't break character even in the public eye. So that used to be a big thing in wrestling in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
So like wrestlers would actually act as their characters to give fans that illusion of the characters outside the ring. So if you met, like, let's say, for example, one of these guys in person, they're still playing their character. But in secret, like behind the scenes, they were all friends and all that. Like it's funny because they actually touch up on that on Young Rock show on how a lot of these guys in Hawaii, but like when they were in person, like when they were in front of fans and everything outside, they would act like their characters. They would not break character whatsoever. There was one, I think it was either Ric Flair or someone who had suffered an injury and they still didn't break character. Like they were in the hospital and they didn't break character at all. And again, it was them selling this illusion of the character to the fans. So that this way, no matter where you saw it, you got that character and it's bigger than life.
Yeah, they couldn't meet after the matches because they couldn't be seen together, that kind of thing, because they're trying to keep the mystique alive. So respect for all of that, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It was
and given like full force with your body into a sport like that, it's nuts.
Like honestly, the bigger than life characters, because like I always saw wrestlers as live comics. These were my MCU before we started getting the MCU because wrestlers, they were characters.
Yeah, I've always argued, like we've had like some wrestling comic writers on, and I've always said like wrestling to me was like they go so well with comics because of that reason, is because they have these storylines and it's like almost like good versus evil. And then they settle it with a fight, almost like every comic book, you know, like superhero comics. So that's why it always felt like it belonged together. And it was always colorful characters.
So
and, you know.
There was a steel cage match last weekend between one wrestler called Jungle Boy and another wrestler called Luchasaurus. That
Is that real?
Yeah,
right. That was real.
Also, wait.
You can picture that in a comic book, you know.
I haven't watched wrestling in many, many years.
Same with me.
I'm here for Luchasaurus, like that.
Well, we gotta give a fact about Jungle Boy. He's actually the son of Luke Perry, who was on 90210.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
What's his name? I'm gonna Google him.
Jungle Boy.
Yeah, Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Yep,
wow.
He is the son of Luke Perry.
But that gives you the perspective that like those days of like characterized wrestlers is not gone. There's still some that are still doing that, which is very comic booky. It's very comic booky.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah.
And the Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus storyline is pretty dope because they started as a trios tag team and now they're enemies, which is again, that's that classic storytelling right there. They had them wrestle as friends for a while, and then now you got the whole villain and hero angle with them. But it's like when I found out that Jungle Boy years ago, when he was like, because he used to wrestle in WWE when NXT with training and all that, because again, that was some of the connections that they were doing in WWE with like some, like for example, how Sasha Banks is Snoop Dogg's cousin. They're related, and so they were bringing on some celebrities, kids who were looking to get into wrestling. He was one of them. Eventually he went to the industry.
A lot of kids that are legacy kids, because kids that are like now in the industry is reminiscent of like when The Rock came in. Now his kids is in, Rey Mysterio's in, his kids in, stuff like that.
Yeah, The Rock's daughter is in NXT. Roman Reigns is the cousin. Yeah, The Rock's daughter is a wrestler in NXT. Roman Reigns and The Rock are in the same family. They're related because they're part of that Samoan family. The Usos, they're related. They were part of that. They're Rikishi's sons. Like with wrestling, it's just fun because again, it's just those bigger than life characters, the events, and then now I think social media too has helped a lot of wrestlers with now you get to see the personalities behind the ring, where it's like, you know, you have Xavier Woods with his gaming channel Up Up Down Down, and it's really cool when you see the wrestlers get together and they're gaming. That is pretty. That is fun. Yeah.
Knowing their on-screen and off-screen personas is really cool. Yeah, that's great. I always like, even though I haven't watched it in a long time, I always like hearing about it. I always think it's like a good thing to be around, and like I said, it mixes so well with comics, and I think it's a perfect thing, you know.
So the last time I watched was the Attitude Era with Stone Cold, and I hadn't watched WWE.
That was right after I had gotten out. It was when Stone Cold came in. Yeah,
that was
Stone Cold was probably my favorite one.
Yeah,
which one?
Stone Cold.
And his beer is great too, by the way.
I have to try
This man will promote that beer until his last breath.
Oh yeah.
What's it like? Is it like a Coors? Like, how's that beer?
He
He
actually
gets the
now,
IPA.
yeah, he actually now has. They actually now have a lager, and it tastes pretty good. It's better. It's a better taste than Bud, but the IPA is smooth. I enjoy the hell out of it. And
Nice.
it's a nice sipping drinking beer,
Nice.
especially chilled. Austin, yeah, I'm promoting your brother. But no, I mean, yeah, it's funny how WWE, how wrestling sometimes has a low and then they have a high point, and it's interesting now because the dynamic is that Vince McMahon no longer runs WWE. They forced him out. Won't get into
really?
why. Yeah, he's been forced out. Triple H is running it now. You have
really?
former wrestler running the company, which he is doing, and they're like, it's breathing a lot of life into the storylines. He's bringing a lot of people back that got let go. So
that's cool.
I think that's kind of what attracted me to AEW when it started. And I started watching in 2019, and it was exactly 20 years from the time that I stopped to when I started again with AEW. And it's because there were the EVPs were all wrestlers, people who had gone through the system and went through Japan, and they didn't fit in the the typical bracket of WWE, so they started their own thing, and I thought that was really cool. And that after I started watching that, I got bit, and I was I'm back in.
Yeah, you get into it. Yeah.
Plus, this age of wrestlers, they're completely different. They're just like nerds, like all of us. They are comic book geeks. They are anime fans.
Cool.
Like some of them have been coming out with costumes that like the New Day came out in Saiyan outfits. Like they were from Dragon Ball.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Jade Cargill just recently did Chitara.
Yeah.
She did Chitara.
Really? Awesome. Yeah. It was
that's cool. I like that.
Cool.
Sasha Banks came out dressed as Sailor Moon one time.
Wow.
Rey Mysterio's always based his costumes off of comics and anime, so it's like it's really. And then when you hear what they're into, like Big Show's a big Destiny player. He's a D&D fan. A lot of these guys are gamers. Kenny Omega's a big time gamer. At one point,
his move is called the V trigger. I mean,
yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool to hear. Like, because like you said, I don't follow it anymore, so it's kind of cool to hear all this stuff. I think it's kind of neat, and it's always a good discussion. I know Johnny loves it.
Yeah, I'm super into it.
I think this day and age, that today's wrestlers do get today's nerds because they are us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, and the other reason having you guys here, I thought we could do like the show, show more like the style you guys do and talk about like things happening in news.
Gone off the rails already?
Oh, a little off.
Talking about news.
Everybody to death with wrestling talk.
Yeah, right.
No, we're here. Listen. This is the first time I remember in our early days of our show, we had a show with me, Seabass, and Pete Rosado. Like, so the two of them are wrestling aficionados, Rolodex of information. And he was like, "Oh, talking about wrestlers and modern heroes," and they would like riff and go back and forth. And they were like, "Yeah, so Tone, what do you think?" I'm like, I got like 5 wrestlers I can name, and you assholes named 4 of them. So I'm there for they're like talking for like 2.5 hours. I had like 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
I'm there just nodding my head, drinking beer. Like that's all I was doing.
That's all I did. Is like I am, right? You haven't watched.
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, I did the same. Like that time in grade school, with the Rock, Stone Cold. Like that was my era of wrestling, and then I kind of just stopped, and that was it.
Yeah.
Although what was dope is that Tone came with me to our buddy Pete.
Oh yeah, I'll go to an in-person show. I'll go to any in-person experience.
Those are fun. Like going to see it in person is pretty fun. When I went to the Mohegan show recently, I brought my buddy who was completely not watching wrestling, and he was super into it just because it's spectacle,
There's a fantasy wrestling federation that they have wrestlers come in dressed as characters like Deadpool,
really?
Storm, Rogue. Yeah, as a fantasy, they have a whole belt, and also like big time wrestlers, like for example, Christine Statlander. She comes in as Rogue. They had someone dressed as the Peter Parker from Spider-Verse, the one that was dressed like a bum and all that.
Yeah.
They had someone coming dressed as that. They had someone dressed as Skeletor, so they're like, yeah, Skeletor is taking on the Kingpin right now. So it's pretty hilarious. They always have it at Riley GalaxyCon, and they're always there. Like they always put on the show, so it's always fun seeing like your comic book characters being portrayed by wrestlers, and they're actually trying to act like them. They had the voice of Skeletor come out and like do some stuff too. I was like, oh,
That's cool.
Great. Yeah, Harry says we need a modern day version of Hulk Hogan's Rocking Wrestling. I don't think we do. I mean, that cartoon was pretty bad.
Only if they bring back the ice cream bars.
Yeah, those
were
those things were great with the cookie. Like it was like a chocolate. Yeah, it was pretty good. But one of the things I wanted to talk about that me and Johnny were texting about what we could talk about tonight with you guys, and
anything.
I was looking at some of the geek things going on, and one of the big stories this week was about DC's new Dawn of DC starting, in 2023. They're going to be doing I think it sounds like it's a new company-wide relaunch of everything. Again, yeah.
Well,
again.
I feel like the last company relaunch was not a relaunch, because for a company relaunch, you need everything to be relaunched. And I feel like they left some of the animation alone. They kind of did Rebirth, and they kind of tried to do the DCEU. If everything's on the same page, I'll finally actually be here for it.
Yeah, I can't tell. I think I scrolled through it real quick, and it looks like Action Comics is still keeping its numbering. So I don't know how often, how much of this is going to be like a company-wide thing, But they have some interesting looking new titles coming, though, from what I saw in this article.
What have you seen?
So let me bring it up here so you guys can check it out.
I've been distant from the DC universe.
Okay.
Hickman, what he's done with the X-Men in Marvel over the last couple years, I'm obsessed with. But
that's been great. I've been reading that, certain titles and the whole.
I fell off over the last 6 months or so I've been catching up now, and it's freaking great.
I haven't read a DC title. Well, that's a lie. I read the Constantine run a couple of weeks ago, but mostly it's been like Image stuff, like Image, Dark Horse, IDW. Like I read Something's Killing the Children.
Oh, that's great. I just got into that too.
Something's Killing the Children.
House of Slaughter.
No One Left to Fight. I do have to read House of Slaughter. That looks really good. I've been reading a bunch. I'm just burning through comics at this point because I've been wanting to for so long, and I haven't really had the urge to jump into like the main two for the most part.
Okay.
So
I just jumped into that. I feel like I'm reading more like Image, Dark Horse, IDW, stuff like that now than I am Marvel and DC, and I don't know why that is. Like it might be that some of it's not exciting.
It finishes.
What's that?
Because it finishes.
Because it finishes. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's like a lot of the stuff I read is like I like to read the beginning and
you want to have like a whole storyline and not it.
Some of the arcs I'll read. So like the last thing I read was I read Secret Wars. So like the new version of Secret Wars where we knew what we know is probably what the MCU is going to go towards. I read all that just so I can be like more understanding and be more hyped for God King Doom, because that's kind of what I want us to get, although it might be God King Kang. So
is this I haven't read it. Is this the most recent one?
The most recent one from like
the one that Hickman did, or is it the one?
I don't know the artist. I don't know the writer.
Okay,
and I know it's what they did before they rebooted again.
Before Hickman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Secret Wars was kind of used as a reboot to bring characters in from other universes that were
from the Ultimate Universe.
Like,
gotcha.
It's essentially Crisis on Infinite Earths if we're speaking of DC.
For Marvel, for Marvel.
And it's going to be the blueprint for Secret Wars for 2025. Essentially, they're going to pull from it and they're going to MCU it.
Like wrestling, I have a love-hate relationship with comics, with Marvel and DC. Like I'll be on it for a while, and then I'll be off. Like there was that point in the 90s, then there was a point in the 2s. It's just that like I had someone hit it. That's the dot and the exclamation point right there. Was that there's times where they don't finish storylines, and it's like, oh, I'm reading this book, I'm enjoying, I want to see it, and then all
And
of a
it's
sudden
done.
canceled,
Canceled.
canceled, and you're like, because they at one point, the industries were just pushing company wide crossovers for a very long time.
Yeah, or a creator can't get a story going because they have to be part of that company wide crossover. It's always it's awkwardly shoehorned in, and yeah, I get that. I often flip flop between both companies too, but I like Law was saying, I'm more into the independent companies now. A little
shy of New 52 Batman, and like maybe like a handful of like Darkest Night, that kind of thing, or Blackest Night and whatnot. I really got into like a lot of the independent stuff. So like Paper Girls, Saga. Right now I'm reading Nocterra, which is fucking. If you're not reading Nocterra, fucking read that.
Great.
Invincible.
Great book.
Invincible. I Hate Fairyland. Like all those things. Like I'm getting into where, you know, I enjoy the main two, but it doesn't really hit as much as it used to.
Yeah,
I try to get into Rebirth. I was kind of excited for Rebirth, but then almost immediately where they try to reset everything, it felt like they just kind of went everywhere with it. So
and it's like that garbage. It is like that garbage that Marvel at one point, the heads who were of Marvel at the time, when
I'm sorry, I resent garbage and Marvel in the same sentence. But
no. Hear me out here. It's like when
Sony Marvel garbage. That's the sentence.
No, when Fox owned the X-Men, there was a hidden rule at Marvel Comics for a long time that they were not going to do any New Mutants. That's why they did all these dumb X-Men stories where they killed off Wolverine, where they were doing the stuff. There was no more New Mutants and anything like that. And then they were focusing on the Inhumans because they were like, the Inhumans were going to replace the X-Men. But it's like, why are you giving this bargain bin X-Men when just give us the X-Men? That's what we want. Now that everything is under one house, and I believe like the heads that were in the studio at the time are no longer there, we are getting a lot of the new X-Men content that we've been seeing over the last few years. But I just remember, like, even now they're like, yeah, the writers and the creators of Miss Marvel, they're like, originally they intended for her to be a mutant, but then they pushed her as an Inhuman.
Yeah, wasn't that whole thing behind that, Sebastian, was them trying to leverage getting the X-Men property back with Marvel Studios? Wasn't that like
I think what they
Fox, they weren't putting any content for the X-Men or any of the Marvel characters for some time because of their dispute with Fox and not being able to work, and they weren't giving them their free reign. So what the comic book side decided to do, all right, so we're just going to screw everything up for you guys and not give you nothing to go on. And the comic books suffered for quite some time.
Also,
petty, like, if you think about it, like, it was just, come on.
But also, too, if they did create any new X-Men, like, for example, if Miss Marvel was a mutant,
right, it would become an Inhuman, right?
Yeah, well, Fox would have had the rights to her. Fox would have had the rights to any new characters that were mutants that they had created. So that was the other thing. So they were just trying to protect their interests, but at the same time, for them to push the Inhumans like they were going to be a big thing, like the show failed.
Yeah,
the comic was just like, you know, it was garbage. Like, you know, and it was not anything. A lot of people, like, there were people who did like the Inhumans, but at the same time, it's like you're now trying to shove them down people's throats to push this narrative. Like, even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at one point was like, oh, we're gonna just do the Inhuman angle too, and it was like, okay, they're really trying to make them like the X-Men. I was like, this is not working, guys.
Do you remember when they tried to do that to Rob Liefeld too? Like, this is even years before, when they tried to not pay him royalties for using Deadpool and Cable, and what they tried to do was, like, they had the Deadpool comic, and then it was like, you know, issue 59 or something, and then there was like it ended with like a big explosion, and then in issue 60, all of a sudden, walking out of the explosion was this new character called Agent X, who wasn't Deadpool, but supposedly was kind of Deadpool, you know, so they wouldn't have to pay him the rights. And they did the same thing with Cable. They changed Cable to like Soldier X or something, and then both titles just like instantly failed, you know, and so they had to just go back to just giving Rob Liefeld royalties, and it's just like,
Yeah, I mean, Rob Liefeld's one of the rock stars of the '90s who rose up with Youngblood and all that. He did all the work for him, Jim Lee, for that they did for Marvel, DC. The only problem that those guys have was releasing titles on time. Liefeld has his own problems with imprints and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, for me, Liefeld gives you beautiful illustrations, but it's just like I felt like Youngblood at the time, Extreme Studios, if there was like a cohesion, like a middleman to help with putting together those stories, they could have had strong characters, a strong imprint. But again, what bothered me, what Marvel and DC at one point were doing with the huge crossovers. Extreme Studios under Image was doing that. They were doing all these company-wide crossovers. You weren't getting real. You didn't know who Shaft was. You didn't know who Badrock was. You didn't know if he was Badrock or Bedrock because he had two names.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like it was like at the time the X-Men were popular, and then when you started looking at Youngblood, they were like the second string X-Men, but just with the government name on them. And it's like they looked cool, but there was no substance in the story, and that's why, and I feel like that's why a lot of those characters went under. Now DC, like going back with Lazarus, like DC was talking about how they're going to relaunch Wildcats. I believe it's probably in that imprint where, because DC now owns Wildcats, and I believe they're spinning Wildcats off of Batman, which I thought that was pretty dope to use Grifter, Zealot, bringing all these characters back who at one point they were really dope. They had a cartoon show, and they've just been gone for a while, but now DC seems like they're going to be using those characters.
Yeah.
Wildcats, that cartoon came out at the right time because it was also at the height of X-Men, the animated series. So, people who were watching X-Men would also tack on and watch Wildcats at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's some of the images. So it looks like Action Comics is keeping its numbering, but it looks like it might be more of a family
issue 1051.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's
yeah. It's really
wild.
And they could be keeping that up to try to get a record of the longest running comic.
Right. It also makes it harder to jump in on, though. But I guess this might be a jumping on point if they're putting it in here,
If you really think about it, if they sell it like it's an anthology book that DC puts out where it doesn't have to
might
be
work,
yeah. It works that way. So Action, like it's like Mad Magazine, it's like Heavy Metal. So you sell Action Comics like that, you can keep
Marvel Presents.
What they should do, they have all these characters here from the looks of it. They should do a main story with Superman, and then the backup be one of these characters, and change that up every few issues or something.
I'd like to subscribe to the Billy Butcher theory that there's too many supers.
I would agree with that. Looking at that image,
yeah, it's just crazy.
It takes me back to when Superman died back in the 90s, and they
when there was way too much.
Yeah.
They need to trim it down again. This one looks cool. They're bringing Doom Patrol back. With
the art looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
right. And I'm loving the Doom Patrol TV series. Like, of all the shows that you think wouldn't last, I'm so glad that one caught a fan base and it's going on still.
I've heard really great things about it. I just don't have the I can't. I don't know if I can get into it.
Cancel it yet because they're canceling everything.
No,
Titans and Doom Patrol hasn't been canceled, right?
No, the Titans.
I'm surprised Titans didn't get canceled.
No, Titans have actually been pretty.
They have a following.
Yeah, they have a. It's
not horrible. It's just not as where it should be.
I agree with that. It always starts off great, but it never sticks the landing. Like
you know what Titans' problem is that I don't think they know how to end a season.
That's exactly the problem. Like they started off really good. They start setting up great plot points, and they set up the storyline really well. But by episode 6, it's kind of going downhill. You
want to know what's sad? It's like how someone mentioned Discovery's canceling everything. I love the Arrowverse all the way up until Crisis, but I don't feel like they had a plan after Crisis.
No, not at all.
They didn't.
Not at all.
But it was good all the way up until that. Crisis.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish that.
No, I was gonna say that was DC's closest thing to getting close to Endgame.
Yes,
it was like it did better for me than what Snyder was doing with the DC movies, and I felt like we did get a lot of the characters that because again, like Ammo really wanted to push this, and the way how they ended Green Arrow going into that, I thought that was great. The fact that they kept going back to Barry Allen's storyline from when the show first started for Flash, that he disappeared in Flashpoint, but to bring back the original Flash, who played John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
to play the Flash, to be the one to go through that whole thing, I was like, it was really and then the late Kevin Conroy got to play a version of Batman on the show.
Yeah, that was great.
They brought back I believe it was like Burt Ward, who was Robin.
Yeah.
They brought him back. There was like a lot of nods to a lot of the old DC live shows, a lot of the stuff there too.
Yeah, that was great.
That's why I was like, for DC fans, this was probably a great crossover that we probably won't see the movies capture for a very long time, the DC movies.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And what I was going to say is I wanted to echo Johnny. I think the Doom Patrol show is really good, but I have a feeling this last season is probably going to be the end, the way they're canceling everything. Hopefully they end it in a way that it's just kind of an ending, Johnny, I hope. We'll see.
I hope so too. And it also kind of gave Brendan Fraser a new renaissance.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
And the one thing that looks weird on the book, though, here, there's a couple of characters. I don't know who this guy is, or this guy, or this cat thing. There must be new members, I'm guessing, or I've never seen those characters before. I mean, you got the classic here, the Robot Man. You got the Negative Man, and then Rita Farr in the background. But
the whole thing too is when you're doing these company-wide reboots, it's a great way of introducing new characters and also introduce diverse characters in these, so that this way you have like your core characters, but then you have new characters that are latching on there, and all that. And it's a great way too to have sidekicks grow. In their roles, so that they're no longer sidekicks and everything.
Yeah, and like the thing with DC is like all their heroes are kind of based on mantles, so you always have like that. As long as you have the mantle, you can like put in a new character, or even with Green Lantern. I mean, there's a million of them. You just keep adding those, things like that. But this looks good. Chris Burnham, I think, has got great artwork, and I mean, just this one page looks really cool. So this might be one that I'll dip in and at least check out number 1 and see if I like it. But the thing with Doom Patrol comics is they just never seem to stick the landing. Like you can never get beyond like 12 issues. I feel like, like I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
I've never picked it up, so I have no like skin in the game for that at all.
I wait for the graphic novel. I'm gonna wait for a graphic novel because
there's such weird characters, and I think that's probably part of it.
I would say go after the Gerard Way run.
That one's good.
Yeah,
the Grant Morrison one is a little wacky.
Yeah, Grant Morrison. Well, yeah, I think those are pretty good reads, but like the Gerard Way one's almost kind of like Umbrella Academy adjacent.
Yeah, really is. Well, I mean, Umbrella Academy was his version of Doom Patrol, if you think about it. Yeah.
Right.
Nerds.
Hey. Coach Nerds around. What do you expect? Nerds here.
Actually, I don't know if you because I know when we were talking about like I'm actually waiting for that 4th book to come out because it was actually a really fun read.
Superboy picture looks good.
Which one? 4th book?
Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I have that on my list as well.
Yeah, I like the comic a little better than the show, to be honest with you, because I like how weird the comic is.
It's so weird, and like all the villains and all.
That's what Doom Patrol in its heyday was. Exactly what Umbrella Academy is. But I feel like the show doesn't lean into that weirdness as much as, say, the Doom Patrol show
I think it's like the Netflix effect,
Yeah, it could be.
So if you go too niche in Netflix, that's an easy street to get canceled.
Yeah.
I think
Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah.
For sure. Like that didn't have a chance, even though it was really good, I thought.
I could say this as Jupiter's Legacy. They should have focused on the past.
Oh, okay.
And then season 2 give us the present.
Right. No,
that would have been good. Yeah.
Would have been way better. But Jupiter's Legacy wasn't a bad start. It just didn't stick to a good flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the comic is great. Did you guys ever read any of those?
No.
I read the first one and I thought it was really good. Like they actually, the show captures the comic pretty closely. Like
I never got into it. I ended up watching what was it, Super Crooks? Like that's the closest I got to it.
The Marlar stuff.
Yeah.
If they finally do the Magic Order, which that comic is excellent, and it's kind of like, you know, like a grown-up version of like Harry Potter, where it's like it's a team of magic guys.
I feel like I've heard about that, and I've heard actually good things about it, but I've never like checked it out. But that came up on my recommendations, I think, a little while ago.
The main female character, I forget her name, but she's so awesome. Like, if you want to talk about like just great female like super characters, she's fantastic. Yeah, I recommend that. They're about to start the 4th mini series on that, but you can probably get all the other 3 in trades. It's great. This is cool that they brought back the original, or the Superboy from the 90s, the one that was part of that whole. Yeah,
I actually followed that series for a little while, and that's probably my only. This one.
Oh, okay.
Superboy, Man of Steel. At the time after Superman's death, when Darkseid killed him, the only time I've really followed the DC comic world.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see this image actually.
Yeah, this looks cool. Like, it's drawn well. It looks really cool.
It looks like they're saying, "Hey, we're aiming at a specific niche audience from the past." That's exactly what this image.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, a little bit like that.
And it's a badass image. It's like, you know, it has a beautiful colors that makes it stand out, and it's just, you know, that pose itself.
This could be kind of cool. They're bringing back Brave and the Bold. That's kind of cool.
That was a very underrated animated series.
I agree with you. I love that series. I think it's amazing. I love that series
way more than I thought I would. It was really good.
I love that it could be serious and then fun. Like,
it has some of the best like villains too.
Yeah, one of the best crossovers too. Like a lot of, I mean, when he crossed over with Space Ghost, I was like, I'm in heaven. Like, this is amazing. You know? It's great. Yeah, I love that show. Highly recommended to everybody.
Speaking
out there.
of Doom Patrol, they have a Thanksgiving episode, I believe.
Do they?
Brave and the Bold, don't they?
Yes, they were on a couple times, and it was really fun. The version, the best one is. Law, did you see the final episode of Brave and the Bold?
I saw the whole thing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Like,
one of my favorites was actually the Music Meister episode.
Yeah, that was a great one too. Yeah, Johnny, if you've never seen that, you got to get on that. It's great.
I've seen a few, but I haven't watched them religiously all the way through. But I enjoyed what I did watch.
Yeah,
I kind of cherry picked.
I forgot how I got into it, but like I just found like the whole series, and I was like, let me watch it. And after like a few episodes, I was like, yo, this is actually really good. It has like the charm, like the charm of the Adam West, but like it gets serious, like some of the animated series stuff. So like
Batman was never like it has like the funness, but he was never a joke in it, which I think really made it work. Like,
absolutely. And it's definitely team up of the week, so you can cherry pick episodes. You don't have to necessarily.
And best version of Aquaman ever, I gotta say, like.
But
I would still put Justice League Unlimited Aquaman all day, every day.
I love his braggart kind of like Beowulf kind of personality in the cartoon. I don't know. But yeah, no, I love that cartoon. So that's a high recommend for me as well.
Brave and the Bold. I got to put that on my list.
Yeah, it's awesome. 3 seasons and it's awesome. So yeah, this is kind of cool that's coming back. So I'm kind of interested in that. I may check that out. This one looks interesting too. Shazam by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, which I think that could be a sleeper hit too. Are you guys excited?
This is DC's answer to Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
This image right here.
That's the vibes. That's the vibes they gave that image.
But Mark Waid, though, I mean, I think this could be cool. I don't know. We'll see. You know, like.
I still think Shazam should have been the Shazam family should have been in the Black Adam movie and not the Justice Society.
Yep, I agree. They should have just been Shazam related, like Taki Tani. Throw him in there, you know, and Mr. Mind, which I'm hoping Mr. Mind shows up in the second.
I heard he gets cut from the new movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I heard.
Mr. Mind.
Yeah,
such a weird villain, but I love him. They're doing a Penguin series, which sounds kind of wild. I don't know if that'll be any good.
I feel like they're doing that to complement the HBO show, right?
Yeah.
They're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
They're doing a Penguin HBO show?
Yeah, they are. They're going to do it based the Matt Reeves Penguin with with
Oh, right.
Colin Farrell's in the
I
joint.
thought it was I thought it was based
Yep.
on the Gotham one, and I was like, we don't need more.
No.
Farrell
I mean,
is coming back.
Farrell's Penguin was great though, so
absolutely.
I can watch that.
Looks like they're doing a Steelworks, which is like Steel and Natasha doing their own series, which that could be kind of cool. See how that goes.
I've always liked Steel. I just don't. I feel like it's one of those like series or one of those characters like that has to be treated well. Otherwise, like he ends up being like a forgettable character.
Bring back Jack.
People are gonna hate me right now. I always felt like Steel was DC trying to find their version of War Machine.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Steel. I mean, again, it's
So what you're telling me is Steelworks is going to be the same as what's Marvel's version of what
Armor Wars.
Armor Wars. Yes, thank you.
well, for a while, Marvel for a while back in the day, which it didn't get any big was it fan base for it, was that Marvel had a series called War Machines, and it was a unit that had Iron Man like armor, but it was like a military commando unit, and it was just like, yeah, that didn't survive long.
They've tried with War Machine a lot, and it just never seems to. They never seem to get the right creators in there or something. And it just
or making a group of one character like Thor Core. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Well, they did also too where War Machine at one point his armor was Sentinel inspired when they did the whole Sentinel act and all that. It's like and it was funny too because I remember at the time there was also some bad art. Again, no shade to the artist or anything like that, but it's like they were really trying to go for, I guess, like this really like 3D art for Iron Man and Exo Man of War. Because they did that comic to try to tie into the whole game.
Yeah, remember that. The other thing that's in that's coming up with this DC stuff that's not mentioned in the article, but I saw it somewhere else, was so they killed the Justice League like I don't know, like a year or so ago. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but
like the characters died, or they just canceled the book.
The characters died supposedly.
Whoa.
Yeah, and or most of them. Well, Superman's still around, Batman's still around.
Yeah, obviously they're gonna keep Batman and Superman.
Right.
Everyone else is like, yeah, you're expandable. Like,
right. So they aren't bringing back the Justice League. So I guess in this next year, they're making Teen Titans the premier team. What do you guys think of that? Like Teen Titans being the premier team in the DCU.
I don't see how that works.
That's like calling the Young Avengers the regular Avengers.
Right.
Good point. Yeah. Good point.
Especially if you're not giving context to how they got there.
Also, too, it's like this. It's like for me, the name Titans should go to like the secondary heroes or the ones that are trained to be heroes, and that roster of Titans should have graduated to be the Justice League, because it's like you're not letting them you're not taking those characters and moving on to the Justice League roster. You're not legitimizing them as like the core heroes that they can grow to be. It's like Avengers has always done that, where there have been multiple lineups for the Avengers, and a lot of characters that have graduated to the Avengers ended up being known as core heroes.
They kind of did that with Cyborg, because Cyborg was Teen Titans, and then he made his way to Justice League, and I felt like they did that right. It felt natural.
Yeah.
Right? But they should have been like, okay, Cyborg is the one, is like the arm that pulls them up into the rest of the Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I would get solely behind that, because again, he has that connection to the Titans of like, oh, the Justice League is dead, we need new heroes, and then to see him pull up the Titans roster of who he can bring in, and again, it's just using that talent, that pool of characters that they have, for them to be like, oh, Titans is going to replace the Justice League. That's like, again, like I think Val mentioned it. That's like taking the Young Avengers to replace the Avengers, when it's like, no, they should have graduated to become the Avengers. That's like taking, hey, we're gonna make the new Warriors the replacement for the Avengers. Like,
you're
like, no, that's D-list.
Right.
Right. And, well, I mean, if they have an opportunity to do that, if they do it right, but then they're not, because like if the Justice League is gone, Nightwing can kind of come in and say, hey, we got to step up and fill these shoes, and then fill a team they could do something like that, but
they're like,
I feel like what I just pitched is better than what they're gonna do.
Yeah, like,
Right.
listen, you can be a Justice League member, but you have to wear the bat suit. He's like, fuck nah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, come on, Dick, put the suit on. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
But that would be an interesting take. You know, you have Dick Grayson graduate to the Justice League, but then you have Damian Wayne now being pushed into the Titans.
Teen Titans role. Yeah, that'd be great. They had him on the team for a little while, and that little shit.
I feel like Damian would just be toxic on that team, man.
Oh yeah.
I love
is
Damian,
toxic.
though.
I mean, he is toxic,
and that's why I love that little shit.
I love that little shit too. Like
Right.
I love how arrogant he is. I love it.
Listen,
Like
he may be a little shit, but he's my little shit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Law right here.
Also, too, this could have taken an opportunity to introduce new characters into the Titans. Like, brand new, like, okay, Damian, you're in charge of bringing in some people and just see how that goes.
Right,
It'll be problematic as hell.
Yeah, it would be.
Listen, you pick it out of all the kids you could have picked. You're picking the wrong kid. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
You're just gonna get a bunch of dropouts from the League of Shadows. That's about it.
Yeah. Also, I will say, if you haven't watched it already,
Assassins, you know he
Super
would.
Sons, the animated movie,
Is it good?
Amazing. Oh,
Is it good?
So good.
Really?
I love the comic.
Good.
Probably gonna check that out this week, and I
I
saw
love
it.
the comic, so like I imagine that would be good because I thought them two together was great. Now, is it when they're younger kids, like when they're
is it essentially like they can't be more. They can't be older than like 10 to 12.
Okay,
Wow.
perfect.
They're,
Yeah,
they're in that ballpark.
that's when the
Like
book
Power
was
Pack.
the best. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I love that the idea of them two together. I thought was great.
You also have a very, very solid voice acting cast. Like when you
really?
hear it, you'll be like, if you recognize like a couple voice actors, you'll be like, oh snap, okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Is that on HBO Max yet?
Yeah.
I
It
think
should
it
be.
is.
Everything should be on HBO Max. Like they put all of their.
Okay, great.
All their
Yeah, I want to
stuff should be
check that
on
out.
HBO
I
Max.
forgot how I watch it. I
love
don't
the
know if I watch it
comic.
on HBO Max, but I
Or Plex.
probably Plex.
Yeah.
Like I remember in the comics, Bendis screwed it up by making Jonathan Kent, go from like a 10-year-old to like his late teens, like with the whole Legion stuff, and it just ruined that book, which I love the Super Son stuff. So I kind of hate that he did that, but
There could have been an easier way to explain it, or again, just create a new character.
yeah, right. Would have been better. Would have been better.
I felt like what they did with Superboy when they aged him up, they were just doing they didn't do the character justice in doing that because they were just trying to like, okay, we have this well-known character, let's do this with them. Like again, I'm all about with diversity in comics. I'm all about good storytelling. I'm all about like, we do LGBTQ representation, but it has to be done in a way where it's like, it doesn't feel forced. And I feel like some of the stuff that they did, like for example, they're like, well, we're gonna introduce Chinese Superman. I felt like that was a forced character.
Yeah, almost like like pretentious. Like I feel like very pretentious. Like it wasn't done naturally or like organically. I agree with that.
I've always said, and then maybe it's a little controversial, I've always said that it's better for there to be an original Chinese character that Superman elevates and respects, as opposed to just making a Chinese Superman.
I agree with that. And it's kind of like this. Like when we got in Marvel, and they for many years they've been trying to do diversity. I remember being in Comic-Con 2017, and that was a question someone had asked them. And they're like, yeah, we're working on characters. So they had brought up Sam Gumphrey, they had brought up Sunspot. And then they did the whole initiative thing where they introduced new characters. And what was interesting, what they started to do too, was that, okay, these are longtime characters we have. So one of the cool things they did was when Falcon graduated from, because Falcon to me was always like a sidekick to Captain America.
Yeah.
But you legitimize Sam Wilson as a superhero when you pass the mantle of Captain America to him. When Jane Foster picked up the hammer of Thor, she did what every other person who picked up the hammer of Thor before her did. They got the powers of Thor. Like you had Eric Madison, who later on became Thunderstrike and all that. So they were just now starting to use that. And then Riri Williams was Matterson. It was Matheson. Yep. Donald Blake too. And then you have Riri Williams for a little while, who had the Iron Man mantle, but then now she grew into a character and became Ironheart. And so it was just showing that, you know, it wasn't a replacement of Tony Stark. It was just someone to carry the mantle, which again, that's what Rhodey did. Rhodey at one point, he subbed for Iron Man. He was Iron Man for a little while. Even Happy Hogan in the comics. So I thought Marvel handled those pretty well. Whereas DC, I feel like they were playing catch up, and they're like, well, we're just gonna put this out there and that, and
like all of a sudden this character's here. Like there's no like, you know what I mean? No build up. You know, I know what you're saying. It just feels like
they kind of did that with Sentry as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sentry was the biggest hoax that they pulled over people's eyes, and that was just dope. How they, so it's like, it's funny. So Sentry was advertised as this character that such and such creator had created, and they never released it in Marvel. They had created all this old school artwork to market it. It was a brand new character that was created. They were like, oh, he was supposed to be there in the Marvel history and everything. It never got released, and I was like, that was the best marketing gimmick to get this character out there and people behind that character.
Yeah. Now, but he never the popularity never stayed though. Like he doesn't even have a book now. I don't think they knew what to do with the character. Yeah, I don't think they did either. And like they were going for like that Silver Age, like this dude is super powerful. He's like more powerful than 10,000 exploding
killed
suns
Ares.
Yeah, right.
He became the villain in that series.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was always like crazy because he had what was the character that
the Void.
The Void. That's what it was. Yeah, I liked it. I read some of it, but it just never. I don't think there was anything there to grasp onto. He was super powerful, and there was nothing you could.
He was a complex character because I believe he had mental disorders as well, and they just didn't know where to go with it.
I agree. Like they just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
and I think you'll see him again, but it's probably be somebody coming in with a new take on it or something.
He's one of those characters that they save. It's like, okay, if we sprinkle this character, he's going to shock. Like Marvel has a lot of characters that they sprinkle like that. DC has characters too that they sprinkle in. It's like you won't see them for a while, then all of a sudden they'll drop them in.
They'll be gone. Yeah, I feel like that's what they're gonna do with Justice League right now. Like you're gonna let it go away for a little while, and then next year at the end of 2023, they'll be like, Justice League's back, and they'll have another superstar creator or something come in.
What's interesting though about Marvel is that they prompt Miss Marvel, she's no longer Captain Marvel, how she's graduated over the years from Miss Marvel now to Captain Marvel, taking up that mantle. But they propped her where she is Marvel Superman.
Yeah,
she is the because like even when you got her in the movies, because they wanted to prep her for the movies right away to get this character out there, like she's ready to throw them hands. And again, I think it was a great transition that we saw for this character because no one had the Captain Marvel moniker for a while when the original character who had died in the comics,
Marvel,
and it was Marvel died from not in a battle, he died from cancer, and that was such a heart-wrenching moment right there.
Definitely. I remember that's
like, part of what made it so good. It's like the argument of Marvel's more humanly grounded. They took this cosmic character, but like, no, he's got lung cancer. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
How real can you get?
Yeah. Right. That was crazy. I remember that. That was big news when it came out. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, like that made some news, and I have the clip if you guys want to see it.
Yeah, we do.
Fire it up.
It was the Quentin Tarantino taking a piss out of the Marvel movies. Yeah, I know. It feels
heavy
like
sigh. Heavy sigh.
Quentin, why?
What are you doing, Quentin? Yeah, let me see.
First of all, I honestly am not the biggest fan of Tarantino movies. I know the cult following. It's cool, but will I be like, ooh, Tarantino? Never. I'll watch them, sure. It's something to watch, but his opinion doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, his movies.
I love that man's movies.
His movies
him and Nolan are like my two favorite directors.
Nolan, I would give, but Tarantino.
Oh my god!
I'm a fan of Tarantino stuff.
Yeah.
Too.
I watch.
But is it something I'm like
Tarantino movies to fucking veg out with?
Yeah.
I would
have
watch
fun with
like
that.
Django, which is so like such
Django's
a hard
good
topic.
one. Actually, you know what? That one's a good one. Okay, we're
I
gonna
like
that
Django.
exam.
Django on the train.
I'm thinking about like
chill.
Kill Bill.
Kill
Um,
is also so good. It's a
It's
rip-off-
okay.
I like
It's
the
just a
first
lot
half.
of
rip-off old
corny
school
stuff that they put
That's
in
the
there.
thing, the Japanese campiness of one, and then you get the old school Western of two. It's such a great mashup.
I kind of
Val.
wish he would take 1 and 2
Sorry,
and
I
put it
don't.
back
It's
together
not my thing.
the
It's
way
not my
he
thing.
was supposed to have it. You know,
Not the last one, the one he did before that.
Hateful
Once
Eight.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No,
Hateful Eight.
I've only
Hateful
watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood once. I need to watch it again because I found like some of the ones I don't like when I first watch them. If I watch them again, I tend
That
to like
one's
them.
great.
Yeah,
I
the
love that
Hateful Eight.
one.
The Hateful
Hateful
Eight.
Eight.
I didn't like
That
it
one
at
was
first,
that one's not too bad.
then I watched it. Then I watched Hateful Eight like two
I
more
love
times,
that movie.
and I'm like,
I
this
love it.
movie's incredible.
Yeah, I
He's-
love
he's
that.
like-
movie.
Hateful Eight's like his version of like Twilight Zone. It's like a Twilight Zone episode. You know
The
what I
the
mean?
one thing I wonder if you guys agree with this about Django. Like I like Django, but I think like that last half hour kind of kills it for me a little bit because I think the movie kind of has that big action gunfight at the end, and that's kind of where it should have ended. And then this goes on for like this other half hour that kind of like I don't know,
When he blows
takes
up-
me
when he
out
blows
of it
up
a
the
little
house?
bit.
Like when he
What's
kills
that?
everybody and then when he kills everybody and blows up the house.
No, after that, it goes on for like another half hour, and
Where Tarantino makes his cameo,
he
right?
makes his
runs into those
cameo
three
in
guys,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
almost
that's-
feel like that.
well,
like,
that's-
it should have ended at that house fight, you know?
Well, that's like Tarantino style sometimes. It's like sometimes his style is a little off with his movies because he's like, parts don't fit together. Like he'll tell
Yeah.
the story here, tell that story there. I mean, again, Tarantino for me, he's a good storyteller. He does tell the story. He has a niche fan
Is it
base.
Oscar worthy?
Yeah, he has a niche fan base. Let's be honest. He does have a niche fan base.
I'm joking, Tone. I'm joking,
Damn.
Tone. I'm
Damn.
joking, Tone. Relax.
don't
It's
have-
all right. All right. I'm just being
No,
a
it's
hater
not-
because he was
no, I
talking
know.
shit. Okay.
No,
I'm
no,
being
listen,
honest.
listen.
I'm gonna be
Let's
I'm
honest.
just being a
hear-
hater. I'm
Let's
sorry.
hear what
Have
he
any
has
of
to
you
say.
guys
Before
heard
the
this?
See what he
clip?
said. Let's see what
I
he
haven't
said.
heard the
guys heard-
clip.
I haven't heard the
I
clip
know.
yet.
I know the
I've
quote.
I
know
saw
the
a highlight
quote.
of an article. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I
same.
don't know the context. I just know the quote, and I feel
Okay.
like he's getting
And-
way more hate than Scorsese.
Yeah,
but
and,
Scorsese,
like, I
really
get-
cheated
He's
on the
another one.
MCU.
Like,
I kind of get what
Okay.
he's
but
getting
he's
at.
great. I
I
know.
think people are kind of,
Blowing it out of
holding out of
proportion.
proportion. But yeah, let's take a look.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
So
If
all right,
if
so
we can pull up like Scorsese's back in the day quote
No,
too, maybe.
Scorsese said some bullshit, and like
yeah, like I feel like he was a really
he was
more of
like
a
he had
hater.
some real boomer
that
response
kind of
to
stuff.
Marvel. Essentially, and
Okay.
the thing with Scorsese too, and a lot of those those directors, was that like Scorsese was coming out and doing like all these mafia movies when westerns were still a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and like he was changing the genre, and so he was getting shit for his movies then, and now doing it to the MCU. And I think it is what it is. But I think let's see what Quentin says. I think it's different.
Yeah. Hopefully everyone can hear it. Let me know if you guys can't hear the audio.
Do you feel like, by the way, that there's, I don't know, there's less movie star about name sells tickets now?
No,
Then
well,
that-
that's definitely the case.
So because there's like 5
Yeah.
real movie stars.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
And you put like 3 of them, like they'll
Yeah.
all do your movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's no, I mean that is one of the and I'm not even putting them down, frankly, to tell you the truth, but that is one of the legacy of the Marvelization of Hollywood movies,
Yeah.
where it's
You love these movies, these Marvel movies.
I don't love them. No, I don't. Love
I know.
Them. All right, I
I
don't
respect
hate them. All right, but I don't love them. All right. I mean, look, I used to collect Marvel comics like
Sure.
crazy when I was a kid, and so there's an aspect that if these movies were coming out when I was in my 20s, I would totally be fucking happy
Uh-huh.
and totally love them. I mean, they wouldn't be the only movies being made; they would be those movies amongst other movies. But yeah, no, I'm almost 60, so yeah, no, I'm not quite as excited about them as.
Can I tell you the thing that for me, I don't have your level of knowledge of cinema, but as a film goer, somebody who likes movies, I mean, what's exciting about a movie
Mhm.
is usually some element of surprise,
Yeah,
right? And what I've seen in a lot of these films is that it is just a carbon copy essentially of the previous release. Like you're never taken somewhere you don't expect in the film.
Yeah, well, look,
I don't agree with that statement.
I know.
I'm there with you. I don't agree with that.
I don't have any. my only axe to grind against them is they're the only things that seem to be made, and they're the only things that seem to generate any kind of excitement amongst the fan base, or just
because they're the things that are working.
All right,
Right. I'm sorry, Disney has money.
and so it's just the fact that that they are the entire representation of this era of movies right now.
Right?
Are they?
Not really much room.
I wouldn't agree with that either.
Yes, they are.
Not entirely. It's what brings
they
in.
Are. They but that's the thing. Like anyone who goes sees a movie, they're going to see a Marvel movie. I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing.
We aren't. We are, but that doesn't. That's not
niche,
the reality for everyone.
Every niche movie that I have seen at home.
Hold on. Like, let him finish.
You have all these actors who've become famous playing these
parts,
characters, but they're not movie stars.
Right.
Captain America is the star.
Right.
Right.
Thor
I would agree with that.
is the star. I mean, I'm not the first person to say that. I think that's been said a zillion times. But it's like it's these franchise characters that become a star.
Personally, I mean, this is my own thing. It's just that I've gone to these movies and you just go like, yeah, it's another. It's not that different from the previous film.
Yeah.
There's some new effects.
Before though, okay, here's a better way to say it. It's like, before, even 2005, 2009 or something like that. If an actor stars in a movie that does as good as the Marvel movies do, well, that guy's a new star.
Sure.
They're an absolute star. And that means that people dig him or her.
Yeah.
And they like them and they want to see them and stuff. And then they, Sandra Bullock is in Speed.
Right.
All right. And
everyone loves Sandra Bullock.
She was amazing in it. All right. She was charming as hell. Everyone fell in love with her. And so, even she does a couple of mediocre movies after that, The Net and something else. Okay. Well, people went to see it because they were
like
excited by Sandra Bullock. They want to see her in something else. And she's good in those movies.
Yeah.
But that's not the case now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the case.
No. We want to see that guy playing whoever, Wolverine or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, another one. Was there anything in the last few years, movie-wise, that you're like?
Okay, so that's probably the last.
So I got 3 words for Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
The biggest movie of this year, Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
Not a comic book
Not a
movie.
Marvel movie.
No,
Not
but
a
that
Marvel
Johnny,
movie.
you know what?
I'll even
adds
say
to his point a little bit though.
everywhere,
because
all at once.
he talks about
The artist,
a movie
Tom
actor,
Cruise.
a movie star. Tom Cruise is a movie star. Like people will go see it because he's in it. I get the point of what he's trying to say. Is like, and it, like people are going to see Captain America, not Chris Evans. Like that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Although
I don't think he said anything. There's specific things I wouldn't agree with entirely.
I have no idea what that says.
Yeah,
Ask me what I think.
Oh, okay.
That's what-
Yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go
Seabass.
ahead,
Okay.
Seabass.
Go right ahead,
Before
Seabass.
we all run off the train, I mean, as far
the
as it
floor is
goes,
yours, my friend.
as far as it goes, I don't think that Captain America was a star because
Thank you,
if you
Amy.
gave it to anybody else, outside of Chris Evans, would that actor have been able to play Captain America? That's the thing you have to think about. Chris Evans played this character for multiple movies. Plus, also too, we're in a different way how acting and society is approaching actors. These actors are now getting longer term gigs versus like, okay, I acted for this gig, I gotta wait for the next movie. I acted for this gig. So a lot of them are now getting longer term contracts, which now is more money coming back into their pocket and guaranteed work for them.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
So I was going to say that Marvel has been trying to change up the genre of superhero movies because because you remember superhero movies back in the day, they were all campy. They're not campy anymore. I go, if Quentin Tarantino directed a superhero movie, we probably would get something closer to what we see with The Boys, which again, it's a different genre of superhero telling. Yeah. And as far as it goes, I don't agree with any of their statements. They're like, oh, Wolverine. I was like, Hugh Jackman got that role. I'm going to butcher the name. Thank you. Laugh at me, Val. I was looking at your face to specific you about everybody. So Hugh was Wolverine.
Oh my God, I write that down for Pong.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. But Hugh got the role, but he was not the original actor for that role that they wanted. And now look at that. He has gone on to do other things. Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man. He has gone to do other things. And it was a resurgence of his acting career because his career had taken a nosedive at the time. And agreed, Top Gun. We've had Ghostbusters, which is not a superhero movie. We've had a lot of
was
movies.
awesome.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
We had the second
non-superhero
Sonic
movies.
movie. We had
Sonic was lit too.
I'm looking at a list of movies right now. We had Everything Everywhere, Everything
In our
Everywhere All
comments,
at
look,
Once.
Inglorious Bastards. When was that?
Then Glorious
Years ago.
Bastards was years.
Glorious
That's a
Bastards
Tarantino
was
movie.
just- was
I'm
Tarantino.
talking about this year,
Those
like
are comments,
Bullet
sorry.
Train this year. What else do we have?
Well, Bullet Train, you could argue that people went to see it because Brad Pitt was in it, But
It had a great cast. It had a great
it
cast.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
Andrew Bullock was in that one too. But I think he has more of a problem with actual Hollywood and not really the Marvel thing. Like,
Right.
he sounds like a guy. I kind of get what he's saying. Like, it seems like the Marvel movies and superhero movies in general is what people are going to the theater
But that's the studio execs problem. Like someone had mentioned this, is that people right now are more conscious of how they're spending their money.
Right.
going out.
It's sort of
Right.
like all the critically acclaimed stuff is now just on streaming as like a show, or the only time you see like Oscar stuff is usually in December, and that's it. You know what I mean?
But that's
It's just
yeah, and then the other thing is streaming has changed. Like the pandemic,
Yeah,
streaming has
definitely.
changed the landscape of it. Like going to a theater, when you go to a movie theater now, you want an experience. You're not going to go see an Oscar-worthy movie. You're not going
Right.
to, unless you're going to like an independent film, or something like that. But it's like, you have a streaming now that's available. People are more conscious, and like even right now, we're going through like the recessions and everything. People, again, are spending a lot more money out of their pocket, so they're more conscious with what they're spending on. So it's like, and especially with movie theater tickets in some areas, it's like $30 a head to go into the movies.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, definitely. Like that has a lot to do with it, and I think like you said, people are more picky about what they're watching in the movies, and
Right.
if you're gonna watch something, you want something with like effects, you want a scope to it, and I agree.
I mean, just for that, I want James Cameron to break box office records with
Please
Avatar.
no. Please
But
no.
That's
no.
gonna. I don't
Please
think. I think it's.
no.
I
Gonna,
don't think it is.
I think it's
I
gonna
think
be a
it will.
disaster. You
No.
think so?
I
I don't
think it
feel
will.
any buzz about it though. Do you guys?
I mean, it really will depend on who you speak to, because
I
I
don't
see a lot
care
of people
about
get
it.
very excited about it.
But Avatar
really?
broke.
Okay.
But Avatar broke that record, and people went because it was James Cameron.
Yeah.
Right.
James Cameron.
Well,
James
my
Cameron
biggest thing with it
makes
is
those
like
movies like
you
his
talk to
movies are
anybody
like,
that
he
watched
wrote
the
them.
original, they can't remember anything about any
Just
great
let's
moments.
just say
in it,
Fern Gully.
I-
Let's say
see,
Fern Gully.
He was dancing
Yeah.
with wolves.
That's
What's
not
that?
accurate
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
I don't know.
Um,
I just
for me,
my
anyway.
circle,
For my
you know,
circle, I should say.
I think because Avatar was also the resurgence of 3D cinema at the time, that also helped sell tickets. He doesn't have that reinforcing factor this time around. I heard that he had been working on AR glasses so that it was more of an immersive movie experience, but it wasn't ready in time for this sequel. And that he was
and
going
the
to do it
fact
for
that it's been so long, I think
Yeah.
if you did that 2 years later, I think you'd have a better shot at making big
Yeah.
Well, he
money.
waited.
It's gonna
He
do
waited for the
okay,
technology.
but I think it's only got about a week or two before it starts.
And also
tipping.
too, it's like it really depends. That weekend is probably that opening weekend is going to dictate if they're going to continue to make money every other weekend. And and I was talking about it with my wife, Jess. He should have released this movie before the pandemic.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to
If
be
it had
harder to. It's not going to meet this. I don't think it'll meet the same numbers it did pre-pandemic. Obviously, I don't think
There's no way it
anything
will.
really meets those numbers
Nope.
in today's
No.
world.
That was a unique situation, I think.
Right.
You know?
Spider-Man was a unique one because Spider-Man Far From Home was probably the first time that people really, really, really got to go to the theaters
Again.
to go see a movie. Yeah, because he it really
The
broke box
Titanic
office numbers.
sequel.
Yep, waiting for the Titanic sequel. I am.
Yeah, that might have done
not.
better. I don't know. But any
It's
more
the old
thoughts
lady, she
on-
comes back from the dead looking for her necklace.
Oh, that'd be.
She's
I'll
out for
watch it.
revenge.
Crazy.
She's out for revenge.
It's gonna be it's gonna be the new zombie flick. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Titanic.
That'd be great, actually. That'd be a great way to go. Any other thoughts about the Tarantino statements? Did you guys ever watch?
I think he's a little bitter.
Yeah.
Only because number one, maybe he's not getting the financing he wants for his own movies.
Well,
And
no, I
two-
think he's such a fan of cinema. I think that's where his beef might be. And like these
But the
movies
thing
just
is,
aren't for
I
him.
feel like
you know?
people's fandom is based on perspective.
Yep.
So
I agree.
if you're not into it, you're not into it, but that doesn't mean it isn't good.
Right.
And I don't think he's
That's a
not
good
into
point.
it too, because he actually there's a script out there he wrote for Heroes for Hire. He wanted to make a Luke Cage movie.
Oh,
And-
really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like if you Google, there's articles from.
Or
like,
is he gonna
10
do it
years
though,
ago.
like a black exploitation kind of movie? Or no?
I mean, I don't know.
Did
but-
Jackie Brown?
yeah, it's true. Jackie Brown's great.
So, but
So-
the other thing is that the sheer amount of Marvel movies in general, it's just like for every Top Gun, there's 3 Marvel movies. You know what I
But-
mean?
but
Like
I mean, if you look at what
per volume.
this year we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 movies in total of Marvel. It's just the fan base that makes it seem so much more. And because we released the Disney Plus,
We only had
you
3.
feel more of it. So it's not like it's outweighing everything else that's in there. It's just what's attracting to people.
Al-
And if you're mad that that's what brings in the money, I don't think that's a valid argument.
Also, so you get
I
waves
think
of
it's
this
just a
stuff.
change of the way people consume movies now too. Like people don't go to the theater
Right.
all the
Look at
time
the
like
numbers
they
with
used to.
Netflix. The streaming services, I'm sure you would see more success there. HBO as well, with releasing some of their stuff
Yeah.
on streaming services.
The
It's
Adam
just a
Project
different
was
world.
amazing, and that was full Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, I gotta
if
see
you-
that too.
If you also, if you really think about
can't-
the
You
stuff
can't blame that
happens
on
this-
superhero movies.
the stuff
Sorry.
happens in waves. Like, how many times are you gonna still talk about the same gangster film with the same characters? How many times are you gonna see the same character in a rom-com? We had this with the action movie boom at one point, where again, like studios were copying that same action movie trope. Harry Potter had broken grounds because they did a whole story over 9 but it was like 9 movies that they created. And then Marvel was just that studio that came along and did something that no other studio did. And that what's happening right now is that a lot of studios really want to copy what Marvel did.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
That's
pressure also because we stay judging whether or not they can keep it up. This phase, that phase, oh, this wasn't
Yeah,
that good.
right.
Right.
Not
We're
easy.
talking so much crap about it, but we're still gonna watch it. I mean, is it gonna change the fact that we love it? No, because we can talk crap about it all day. We're still gonna go see it. And I think that it's hard, it's a lot of pressure to maintain it. I don't think they're gonna keep up. There's no way to keep up the same hype like in the Infinity Saga, especially since they kill off all of their villains instead of letting them live. But there's but so much. It's gonna go but so far, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that it's not good. That's the thing. It's just what it is now.
I agree with you there, 100%.
Yeah. Anyone else? Final thoughts? No?
I'll go.
Yeah. Let's hear your perspective. I know you're a
Let's hear
fan
it.
of Tarantino.
Well, one, I think the hate in regards to Marvel was coming more from Tom Segura than from Quentin.
Yeah.
I think Tom felt like he didn't know
was
what the hell
hating.
he was talking about. I think there is some the validity to Marvel recycling, because people do talk about how Marvel has a certain way
Formula.
to do their movies and a certain formula, and so like you get your Act 1, your Act 2, CGI battle Act 3. We can't deny that has happened multiple times throughout the MCU.
But it works.
That's the formula.
It's the formula and it works, but it's my gripe with Shang-Chi, even though I think Shang-Chi's one of the best Phase 4 movies. Anyway, I digress. I think what Quentin is trying to say, and I think Quentin is different than some of these other directors because the man's only made 8 movies and they're all drastically different from each other versus like a Scorsese who's usually doing gangster flicks
Or an Allen.
or
Yeah.
or something like that. I think
Yeah.
also Quentin is a cinemaphile. Like he's really into the history of cinema. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his love letter to old school
Yeah.
Hollywood. And when you talk about those movie stars, it was a different
It's like
world.
every
back then.
movie he does is like a specific genre that he
It's
loves,
specific
or
genre
something.
piece, and like it's honoring something, and like the movie stars of those times are like those people were just were like trendsetters.
Yeah.
Where sure, Chris Evans now is Chris Evans, but Chris Evans when he got hired for Captain America was Johnny. He was the Human Torch.
Right.
Robert Downey Jr. we're getting him for cheap because
he was already an amazing.
He's bringing his
actor.
career up. I didn't know who the hell Chris Hemsworth was before Thor. I mean, look, like there's a couple you look at the actors in Iron Man 1, and all the supporting actors were on the up, where Robert Downey Jr. was coming from below. So I think Marvel's doing the thing. I think some actors have become movie stars. Simu Liu, who did his TV show, was big, but I think after he became Shang-Chi, he's now a household name.
He's huge.
I think Elizabeth Olsen is a household name. Chris Pratt, whatever you feel like, Parks and Rec to
I didn't know him
Leading
until
Man.
I didn't know him until
he was
Star-Lord.
the actor who
What
played
was
Vision.
the teen show
He was
on
gonna
CW?
quit acting. He was gonna quit acting. He was gonna be done with acting, and then he got. So I think there's a mix of like you getting your movie stars out of MCU, but there's also a point. I'm not going to see Marvel movies because XYZ actor is playing them. I'm going them because I want to see my comic book movie. I'm going because I kind of know what's going to happen because I know what the source material is, and I want to see how the MCU does it. Those are valid arguments. The actors aren't. That's why every big Oscar-winning actor is now doing the MCU because they can just do it for fun. We're not seeing them to see them, So I think there's positive. There's definitely.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But no, but that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think all the commentary that people are giving to Quentin Tarantino that he doesn't know what he's talking about, I think it's a lot of BS. He's making some observations. Yeah. And I think he has. And
I don't think he's necessarily wrong. But
yeah. And he's going to make his 9 movies, his 10 movies. He's going to retire and he's going to be he's going to be a generational director. And that's it. He's not making 50 movies. That's it. I mean, so I think hearing it from him versus, mafia, the mafia director and all these other things who are just spitting vile, where he's just making an observation. I think you're right. To your point, Val, we're gonna go see what we want to see, but like director movies, I will see a Scorsese, I will see a Quentin movie in the theater because he does his movies in a way where it is an experience. Yeah. Either he's filming it on a certain kind of reel that's played in like one theater in the country. Like
Hateful Eight. Yeah.
He does his shit specific. There's an intermission.
Yeah, I love that.
He does so many different things to make you have a movie experience. Right. Marvel movie experience is like, that's a collective movie experience. I'm never going to experience anything like I did with Endgame unless Secret Wars tops it. Because that 2019 theater opening night of Endgame was incredible. But when I watch the Quentin movies and I'm watching them with my wife and we see them like we experience that. You watch Django in that movie theater, like you feel it. Like you feel it. You watch Inglourious Bastards, you're like, yeah, fucking kill all those Nazis. You're like, this is awesome.
I still remember how I felt when I first saw Kill Bill. Like,
I didn't get to experience. I didn't experience Hateful Eight the way he wanted to. I had kids.
I did. I
wanted to do it with
an hour
Rio,
to
the intermission
see it in one of those.
There was a program like
Dude, I got 2 of them in my other room. I have the play they were like a play a playbill or something.
Yeah, so
that was great. It was really cool to see it in that format. That was a great movie. Love that movie. Yeah, Johnny's got one. Johnny, who's on the back though? They put one of each on the back. Who is it? Is that
that's Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Nice.
That's great.
That is my piece on.
Yeah, no.
If everyone's gonna talk nonsense to anybody, talk nonsense about Tom, because Tom didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He was there like nodding and agreeing, like, yeah, I'm gonna kind of agree with Quentin.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to throw wood on the fire, trying to get him to see his point. I don't entirely agree with everything that was said. I understand where the point is coming from. I just think that it's a very narrow-minded sense when it comes to movie making, cinematography, or actors in today's world. I mean, the world has changed over the last few years. You either get it or don't. And I just think that if you don't adapt to how the movies are received in today's world now, then you're not gonna make the money like DC is or Marvel is. DC gives us trash and we still go watch it. So, I mean, because it plays on it plays on what we love.
I feel like Scorsese was just making that comment because at the time Joker came out and it was essentially just a kind of biting off Taxi Driver a little bit, and it was very much the flavor of his type of cinema, but with the candy coating of a DC character.
I've yet to see that film.
I mean,
watch Taxi Driver.
You don't have to.
Yeah, it's the same. Like watch King of Comedy. It's the same.
King of Comedy, exactly.
I understand of it. My gripe with that particular movie was I don't like when movies play on characters from comics just to get a draw from that. I'm not gonna. If you wanted to do something else, then just do something else. And especially if it didn't play into the larger universe that they were trying to build at the time. It just. I didn't understand the concept, and so I chose not to watch it. I mean, I'll watch it one day.
Joker was just made because they DC at the time, like you hit home with that, Val, because they were just trying to show that they were different from Marvel. They were just trying to be like, oh, we make our movies like we could do this, we could that.
Yeah.
But they were not succeeding, and that's where the difference is with Marvel is that they were focused on one thing, and they still were telling different genres, and they're still working on it because again. A lot of like She-Hulk missed the mark with their season finale. I feel like the episode with Daredevil should have been the season finale. I feel like like Thor, they tried, they went too hard with the comedy, but they tried. WandaVision was something different, and they tried. Like they actually were taking risks. DC. It wasn't risks they were taking. Warner Brothers was not taking any risks. All they were like, well, we're just going to do this joke. You kind of shitted on the actors who you hired to be these roles, like Ben Affleck's Batman, when you're like, oh, we're going to, and then like, oh, we're going to pull the plug on you from doing your own Batman movie. Because originally he was supposed to direct his own Batman movie.
Yeah.
And from what was said is that Ben was really, because he's one of the few actors that definitely had a chip on his shoulder coming into that, and I don't mean in a bad way, it's because he still had that sour taste of playing Daredevil. And then it's like this was supposed to be the redeeming comic book movie. He had like we could contacting Kevin Smith. He wanted to do the character justice, but
he's also one of the few actors that is actually a really good director.
Yeah, and they pulled the wool from under him. They pulled the rug from under him, pretty much. And it just showed you how they didn't have their house in order. Then they were like, well, and the same thing too with Suicide Squad. When they saw how well Deadpool did and how well Guardians of the Galaxy did, there was no secret that Warner Brothers at the time wanted James Gunn, and they cut those Suicide Squad trailers earlier to kind of mimic what we kind of saw with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Squad 1?
Yeah, Suicide Squad 1.
And those trailers were so polar opposite, man. I remember the first trailer, it was so black and white.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you get the second trailer, like, you know what we can do? We're gonna get Queen. We're gonna have Queen do the music.
Yeah.
Neon. And I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I felt like they were just trying to align it more to Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like, we want to do something that looks.
I bet David Ayer was like, what are you doing to my movie? It's not your movie anymore.
Yeah, that's
release
like,
the haircut.
And that's where like I feel that that type of conversation to be aired towards those grievances because of how Warner Brothers handled it at the time. But when you look at what Marvel did, it's very similar to what the Harry Potter movies did. Harry Potter was kind of like the MCU pre-MCU, and they did this a straight storytelling with 9 movies, which hadn't been done before. And all Marvel Studios did is that they did this in movies and told this interconnected story. Now they're pushing it a step further where it's an interconnected story with the movies and shows.
Yeah.
So we're just getting a lot more now, and they're just trying to tell a bigger story. But that's my take.
No, definitely. And
one cohesive story.
Yeah.
Can I get that? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. we're heading into the 2-hour territory, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. But we got some great comments though, so let me just kind of riff through these real quick. Adam Warlock said, "Hey folks, great stream tonight. I'm lurking while I'm working. Happy Thanksgiving."
Happy Thanksgiving.
Harry said this kind of became comic book mystery science theater all of a sudden. Let me see. My wife said Disney has money. Oh, she was saying this to you, Val. It's true. Haha, maybe Tarantino's just like a broke dude driving a 2000 Corolla, putting down another guy driving a new Maserati.
I love it, Amy. I love it, Amy.
Oh, damn.
Harry said, "I'm still waiting for the Titanic sequel."
Hilarious.
And then I think she was saying, "Isn't this the
Animal
whole
Kingdom.
Avatar land at Disney World?" I don't know. Is there?
Probably do now.
Yeah.
It's an Animal Kingdom.
Oh, gotcha.
Really?
You can go to
Titanic
Pandora,
2,
Animal
Jack is back, The Reckoning.
Oh, we got to put that together. That needs to be an anthology.
Yeah, right.
Imagine. Oh my god.
David Hasselhoff was eating a burger off the floor, then boom, he's in the MCU.
Kevin Bacon's in the MCU. Come out
that's
tomorrow.
great.
Right.
Oh god.
Oh, that's right. It comes out
Wait,
tomorrow.
it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, we can watch
Yeah,
that
that's
tomorrow.
Oh,
right.
I'm
That's right.
excited.
That's tomorrow.
I got to watch.
Wait, what comes out tomorrow?
The
Guardians
of the
of the
Galaxy
Holiday
special.
Oh, the holiday special?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
It's too early for Christmas stuff.
yeah, right. I
It's
know.
not
Dude,
that
as soon as
I got-
Halloween
I got my
came up,
tree up.
Yeah,
Oh,
Thanksgiving that's it. It's over.
let me
Yeah,
enjoy
right.
my
It's lit up.
turkey, man.
You guys do
We
anything
didn't put
geeky
ornaments on the tree. We put the lights up.
You guys do anything geeky on Thanksgiving that you as like a tradition or anything like that? Or
We did our first Friendsgiving episode, which was fun last night.
oh, cool.
And traditionally, I always give thanks to everyone and everything. Thanks for everything for the year. So, but it was fun. We had fun time last night.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nothing geeky.
Yeah, not me either. Like I
Traditionally,
just
Jesse
eat and then watch stuff at night. That's about it.
Yeah.
You know?
As a
If I
kid,
watch
Yeah.
something geeky, that's probably the case.
Football for me and drinking.
Nice.
Yeah,
A lot of beer.
drinking, football, food, board games with the family, and lots of talking smack to each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see this. I'm going to this great restaurant tomorrow. It has this awesome chef that's there, and then they have this bomb
my
bar.
God.
They have this bomb
Oh my God!
bartender.
Here he goes,
Bartender, yo,
Here we go.
volunteering you
What's up?
again.
He's
Everyone
talking about
volunteering.
going to Tone's house, by the way. Not
Okay.
Yeah, let me
Every
just
time.
I'm not volunteering.
explain. Let me explain.
Yeah.
No,
Awesome.
we're spending. Yeah, it's me and Jess are spending with Tony and his family. And we're gonna have some fun. We always have fun
cool.
every year, just like last year came through. We're bringing Coquito to the house.
Nice.
what is that?
It is the
Ooh.
Spanish
Spanish
version of
eggnog.
eggnog.
Oh,
cool.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
more than that, but
It's more than
yeah,
that. It's
It's a simple way of explaining it.
yeah.
yeah.
Pretty much.
It's a party in the
But
bottle.
just better
Yeah.
than
I'm
eggnog.
down with that.
It's like coconut.
It's
alcohol,
it's eggnog's
cinnamon.
better, funnier, much more loved cousin.
Nice.
Not the
Yeah,
Like,
best
that's
way.
a
the
good
better way to
in-between for
explain it,
me
Tom.
is like having rum chata. If you have rum
The best
chata,
way-
Oh, I
you're
love
probably
rum
in
chata. I was just
you're
gonna
in that
say.
middle ground of it.
Yeah,
The best way to make this, and my wife does it, is that we don't do it with regular Bacardi. We get the Bacardi Coco.
Oh,
To
enhance that
Little-
coconut
little
flavor.
Inside secret here. Nice.
I can't
Nice.
give away the rest, but that's it. I put it this way. My mother-in-law came through, we gave her a small bottle. She came back like, do you guys have any more?
As we start to wrap up, I definitely want to share the link to the Nerds of the Round YouTube channel in the chat.
Yes, please do.
If you guys are
Thank
looking
you.
for more YouTube content, definitely subscribe to these guys. They do it's a weekly show. You guys
Yep.
do
Every
Yeah.
Tuesday at
Weekly,
9
every
p.m.
Tuesday.
Eastern Standard.
at
We
what
actually-
time?
9
Eight.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh no, Johnny, we're gonna if we move to Tuesday, we'll be going up against these guys.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well, we were-
no!
Well, we were waiting. Well, so we've been doing Wednesdays since we started the show, but now it seems like we're butting head. There's not a good night to stream.
Well,
I
it's funny,
swear.
but Catch the Craze actually moved to 8 p.m. Tuesdays. and they only do and we give them a shout out. So it's like it's funny, like people go from Cash to Craze, and then they could move like right over to Nerd. So it's pretty funny. It's like a little power hour.
Yeah.
I do have to announce is that our season finale will be December 13th, and we will be back for our 200th episode on January 10th.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna try it out for a little while, see if Tuesday works for us. But then, I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
It's always an experiment.
Yeah. It's like, well, I feel like the great thing about YouTube and great thing about the live stream is like, so say someone watches you guys' show that night, next day they can come and get our show, like the
Right,
different
vice
content,
versa.
so yeah,
Right.
so it's like I guess it's all the same. I mean, but I felt like on Wednesdays we were butting heads with like everybody, so it's like I feel like we'll try Tuesdays.
I would
see
say
how that
those are the
goes.
hot days because
It is. It's true,
comic
right?
release
Like,
day, most
yeah.
content's dropping that day, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, I shared the link in the chat. Do you guys want to? Do you have any other links that you guys want to throw out for your own personal stuff? I'll have you go around the room here.
I was going to say that. Well, so me and Sebastian were both in We Suck at Comics.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that too much tonight.
Yeah, but I want to give just a big shout out that you can get Sebastian Short from We Suck at Comics on his Patreon right now.
Oh, really?
So check
Okay.
out his Patreon for
Yeah,
that.
if you want to share it in the private chat, I'll
I just
throw
sent
it up.
it your
Oh,
way.
you did? Okay, perfect. Let me
Well, just to
share
let
that
you
out.
know, chapter 2, part 1 just dropped yesterday. I gotta give a big shout out to George Medina. He's been the letterer for the strips and everything.
Love George.
So
George, friend of the show.
I release a bunch of exclusive art there. I release my adult joke comic on there, but Concrete Combat has been my work, labor of love on that. So you catch that on my Patreon.
Oh, cool.
You could get to read the entire chapter 1 on there, and chapter 2 part 1 has just dropped, and it's just been fun and everything with dropping that book there.
Awesome. Law, please.
So you can basically look up on Amazon To the Boy Who Grew Up, my first book released earlier this year. 15 poems, 15 poems, 15 pieces of photography. There is a print shop. What else am I doing? Twitch on Thursdays and Sundays. I'm trying to get into back into the swing of things, but it's been hard with the new work schedule. So twitch.tv/Taos by Law for all that variety fun that I do.
You have the Discord.
We have the Discord, the Medusa's Cascade.
Wow.
Oh man. Like when people ask me, yo, Law, what are you doing? And then I tell them, and they're like, when do you sleep? Sleep is a very vague, vague term that you guys use. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but one of these days I'll figure it out.
Yeah. You're in service to all this stuff. Yeah.
I would drop some links in the chat. I get you.
Yeah,
guys
go
that.
ahead. And I'll start sharing them out here as well. Awesome. VMAC, how about you? Anything?
You can see my Instagram pages on my underneath my picture on there, and also I've started a new podcast on the side with some ladies that we do Saturday nights.
Oh, cool.
Between 6 and 8, and we stream on Reflex Radio as well as on YouTube. So we're on all the major podcast sites like Amazon, Spotify, stuff like that. And the YouTube page is up and running. It's just building content because it's very early in. But it's TV, it's TEAV, acronym TV kind of thing. We spill the tea, talking about pretty much everything. Mental health issues, relationships in today's world, women issues, things of that nature, and getting a voice out there for more positive women representation as opposed to the things that we see today in the world of social media that isn't realistic to what actually exists in today's world.
I like that.
So that's one thing that we're just starting out. We've had our last episode last week on online dating. We have one coming out this Saturday about money in relationships, gender roles, things that are expectations that are unrealistic. And we also are planning on a episode with where we're discussing mental health, and especially with the holidays coming and people, so they don't feel alone in struggling and being able to open and talk. It's a safe space basically People can call in, join the radio, and talk about their issues, or email us as well. t.e.v.112845 if you care to share any stories of yourselves or anonymously that you don't mind us talking about and giving some advice and things of that nature.
Oh,
So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. And Tone, how about you?
Nah.
So just promotes us in the Medusa's Cascade,
That's
which we haven't even said. If you guys haven't looked at it already, the Medusa's Cascade, me, Tone, and Sebastian are on it as guests, and I'm a DM at some point in the long future. But our first animated project for Beyond Studios will be the Medusa's Cascade, and we just dropped the teaser trailer for that. I want to say
cool.
like a month ago now.
Very
and there's
cool.
more stuff coming out. Tommy is currently working on the recap episodes, so there's like 100+ episodes out, which is insane. And he is doing arc
awesome.
episodes, so you guys can just listen to 45 minutes of content to catch up on like certain arcs. This way you don't have to slog through 100+ episodes and hundreds of hours, you know? So I'll drop you guys the link for both of those now.
Oh yeah, perfect. And let me share VMAX link here. Johnny, anything going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, first I want to just say that I'm very thankful for all you guys coming on the show tonight and taking the time. We greatly appreciate you guys.
Buddy.
Yeah,
sharing your
especially
time
like
with
the night before Thanksgiving. This is sort of like a party night mostly.
Yeah.
It was nice that you guys partied with us. I appreciate that
for sure. And the only 2 Kickstarters I'm backing right now is a watercolor caddy. It's done by our
you told me about that.
Griffin S. He's gonna change the watercolor world with this new caddy that he designed. It's the campaign's running right now. It's going to December 10th, so definitely check that out. It's well past its goal. It's smashed its goal, so you're definitely gonna get it. And the other one is Arn Anderson, My Life as an Enforcer. Source Point Press comes back again with another pro wrestling bio.
Yeah. Okay.
And the previous one was Tony Schiavone. We had
Dirk Manning.
Yeah, Dirk Manning on, who did that. Somebody else did this one, but it's in the same kind of lineage.
Okay. That's really cool. That's on Kickstarter?
That's on Kickstarter right now. All those are on Kickstarter. And I'm going to tell everybody to watch the top 3 non-comic book movies, I think, from this year. Top Gun Maverick, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, that's a good
one.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that, but I'm dying to see it. It looks so good.
Especially if you love Nicolas Cage. There's a lot of funny stuff in there.
And The Northman. If you haven't seen
Northman,
The Northman,
great
that movie is dope. It's basically about Vikings, and the ending is 2 naked Vikings fighting on the lip of a volcano.
From
all right, I'm here for it.
A24.
My guy from True Blood is in there. Yes.
They're like the only
A24
ones putting out like cool like independent movies.
The Green Knight, I still have to watch, but
they're like
Miramax
Miramax back in the day, like
they
are
Miramax, but less rapey.
Yeah, less rapey. Yeah.
You didn't mention Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbusters was last year though, right?
Yeah, wasn't that last year?
Was it?
I think it was 2021.
Okay, sorry. All right.
Watched it this year, but came out last year.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and I want to reiterate what Johnny said. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's great that you came on. Like I said, this is a notorious party night, and it's cool that you guys party with us on YouTube here.
Yeah.
We talked about some great stuff. I thought, great discussion about everything. So, yeah, awesome. Definitely. Thanks for coming on. And anybody out there, if you haven't checked out Mighty Mascots, check that out on Indiegogo. And we'll be back. Actually, Johnny, we're back on schedule after this episode. We have next week off, and then we're
next week off.
And we're into the bi-weekly window again. Thank God.
Yep.
Awesome.
There you go.
So next week, everybody should tune in to Nerds of the Round instead, right?
Yeah. Tuesday nights at 9 p.m.
We're gonna be talking about Andor.
on YouTube.
Yes, we're
Oh,
talking
on
the
Twitch.
season finale.
I
Yes,
gotta
we're
catch
going
up.
to be doing the
Shit.
season finale of Andor. Tone, you're going to be good. You're going to catch up.
I'll
It's going to
catch
be
up.
great.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, because he's gonna do that famous Tone spoiler warning.
Yes, and trust me,
Wow.
trust me, it's going to be great. And wait till Tone, when you catch up, you have to hit me up. Just
All
saying.
right, all right.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna end this
Love you
episode.
guys.
I
Thank you
appreciate
so
you guys
much.
coming on.
Happy
and,
Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving,
everybody.
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Don't eat too much and read some comics if you can get those in there as well. So,
Sounds
all right. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. All right. Bye.